Excuse me, sir, please.
5 crores towards the construction of the wing at Vice-Chancellor Shri Gopal T along with the staff organization marks a historic milestone. The monumental condition of the largest ever towards the construction of the wing by Narasimhan Building underscores its dedication and depth of love demonstrated marks a historic milestone. The monumental contribution of the largest ever I request everyone not to your history underscores his dedication and depth of love demonstrated for the alma mater.
Brother.
To invoke the blessings of wisdom and enlightenment, I request everyone to write.
నువ్వు చూసుకో, నువ్వు సైడ్ చూసుకోవాలి. ప్రసాద్ బ్రదర్, హలో హలో. నువ్వు చూసుకో, నువ్వు సైడ్ చూసుకోవాలి. ప్రసాద్ బ్రదర్, హలో హలో.
May this symbolic act illuminate our minds and guide us towards progress and prosperity. May this symbolic act illuminate our minds and guide us towards progress and prosperity.
Camera వస్తుంది.
As we stand in unity, let us invoke the divine presence with a moment of prayer. I request Veena, student of Electrical Engineering Department, to lead us in the invocation.
Camera వస్తుంది.
As we stand in unity, let us invoke the divine presence with a moment of prayer. I request Veena, student of Electrical Engineering Department, to lead us in the invocation. They create more leaders. They inspire others to believe in the possibilities of opportunities. This reminds me of our beloved director, Osmania Foundation. It is now time to follow on Dr. They create more leaders. They inspire Osmania Foundation in the possibilities of opportunities. This reminds me of our beloved director, Osmania Foundation. It is now time to call upon Dr. D. the dynamic director, Osmania Foundation, to address the gathering, highlighting his vision and pursuits.
Good evening to our distinguished guest of the day, Shri Gopal T. Krishna and his spouse. Good evening to our Raj Kumari, distinguished guests, their family, members of the day, Shri Gopal, our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Krishna, Registrar, and his spouse, HOD of Electrical Engineering, Raj Kumari, the other HOD family, members of College of Engineering, Lord Honorable Faculty Vice-Chancellor, my dear Registrar, and Principal HOD of Electrical Electrical Engineering. Today, the other is a great milestone College of Engineering for not just learn department faculty, electrical, my dear children, and nor fellow engineering college. Nor today is a great milestone for not just because department as my college goes, nobody has contributed 5 crores to their I think this calls for a standing ovation. My college calls for a standing ovation. Nobody has contributed 5 crores to their I think it calls for a standing ovation. I think it calls for a standing ovation. I think each one of us is humbled and Shri Gopal T with respecting the love each one of us you have not just shown your alma mater but also humbled professors. And I think it's very pertinent to note the fact, the love and affection to each one of us, not just shown your alma mater but also as your professors. I think it's very pertinent to note the building for electrical engineering. Each one of us, I think, should make here especially the Professor Narasimhan. Gopal has named the building. It is not just for electrical engineering. After this, he remembers all the teachers. Professor worked on Narasimhan. Okay, and he did not forget. It is not just his professor, principal of the college. He remembered all the teachers who have taught. So he has named. Okay, and you know the auditorium. Again, he did not forget principal, even the principal of the college, the committee room. So he has named his HOD, God sir. You know the auditorium. Again, the name of the principal. The committee room named after his HOD, God sir. Not the end. My dear children and friends, that's not the end. He remembered the non-teaching staff who are the lab instructors who taught him in the labs. And said, we need to name the lab friends, that's not the end. You know, but he remembered the non-teaching staff who are the lab instructors who taught him in the labs, which and said, I have not seen, we need to name the lab, somebody doing it in my lifetime. You know, with their name. Is this citation? Or Students of Management, which I am an alum. I have not so many things and somebody doing it there in my lifetime. But we have not seen anything like this institution. And to add where somebody remembers Management Bangalore, of which folks from the lab have an alum technician and we have seen so many things, principal and there's crores of professionals there also coming. So I think we have not seen anything like this. It needs one more end to end where somebody remembers folks from the lab technician who is the principal and is doing particular institution. I will not, so I think, dwell. It needs one more into great round of applause. This journey of life. But I would say that I will not. The alpha for this donation did not this journey of life or last because I think I'm sure he's going to share us more than 5 to 6 years. But I would say for this donation, the alpha for today's donation as it has taken did not start today or last. So it's a long list. It took close to about more starting from 5 to 6 years for the then donation. Then principal Professor followed by, so it's Professor Mangalore, Professor Malaysia, Professor Ramanarao, starting again, Professor Manjulaga, the next principal, Professor who was then HOD, then principal, and finally Fatima, in the last, followed by 3-4 months, Professor Mangu, Professor Malaysia, Professor Ramanarao, and then again, and then next principal, Professor Shri Gopal T. I think this, and finally, in the last, and it's 3-4 months, or 5 months, I think the efforts of Mangu Garu and the current and I think, and in the back end, Principal Gopal T, Professor Shri Gopal T knows what I think this has happened, and Professor Malaysia too played a very, and it's made true. Now, we need to, and I think back the back end, analyze Krishna Garu and see why he knows who all have been 5 to 6 years, and Professor Malaysia too played a very. Now, we need to look what I see as Alan's analyze chief and see why it took 5 to 6 years. There were no formal structures. There is no formal what we see as Alan's chief give back to the alma mater, how it is established in the there were no formal large structures. There was a journey for us also way in Alumni, not the door of this institution, give back to the alma mater, how it is established in the IIT and the Alumni Association, God institution 1560. It was a journey for us also with the Aberration Association, not the door of this 20, 21 and 20 years because we were allowed into the gates. The association, and the Alumni Association is what required, I think, in this whole process when we look at it. With the aberration to create this structure, 2021, the whole credit goes to the current Vice-Chancellor, the association here started this thing. And I think this whole process, when we look at it, to create this structure, Osmania Foundation was the whole credit goes for creating current Vice-Chancellor, Professor bringing in place responsibility. At the same time, Osmania Foundation was created primarily to ensure creating this structure, bringing in place responsibility to ensure to facilitate Alan's come and give back. At the same time, accountability. And I am proud to say this Alumni Association, such along with Osmania Foundation, in the last to ensure to facilitate Alan's, we have come and give back close to 70 to 80 crores. I am proud to say this Alumni Association, and we thank the along with Osmania Foundation and every alum in the last who was 1 year part of the year. We have raised close. It's not a small journey to be honest. 70 to 80 crores for this institution. Started by and we thanked by our mining association and every alum, Ramon Raga, who was Satish Nayak, who's here, all of us. It's even today, this Alumni Association runs on personal funds of ours. Started by and motivated by our, and it needs energy to make things happen. Satish Nayak, and I'm sure each one of even today, this Alumni Association runs on personal funds of ours. And it needs time, energy, to be honest, to make things happen. And I'm sure some of you and many of your business knows how much time we come and spend in the association. We pass resolutions to support the construction, to be honest, electrical engineering building. But some of you and many of you are going to 2 general body committees here in the Alumni Association. Then we pass the month of Jan to support the construction of the electrical engineering building. Who's a CM? But unfortunately, we were told in chief, we need to do something big. Time is running out. By December, we need to do something. Then, in the month of Jan, then he says, forget about the patient under the sun, sir. Please go ahead and do who's a CMD of the building company. For told him, chief, we need. That's when the organization. Time is running out. By December, we need to do the principal, requesting him to create. Then he said, forget about everything under the sun. Building construction. Please go ahead and do and in February first week, That's when the Alumni Association committee was formed. To the principal requesting and create. There came the Messiah construction committee for. It was only 20 days or 30 days, I think. And all February 1st day you are seeing Gopal T was when the committee was formed. Wherein all what you're seeing are donations, etc. There came the Messiah suddenly happened in the last 1 month. It was only 20 days or 30 days, I think. And I'm sure all this happened. Today you are seeing Gopal T thoughts that you want to do something good. It's all what you're seeing. If you really want to do something, what you understand is, and you put your heart and soul into it. The universe, and I'm sure conspire our thoughts and Gopal, if you want to do something good, came in. If you really want to do something good, at least and you put your heart and soul into it, the universe will conspire to make from the Alumni Association and Gopal Krishna, thank came in. We didn't even know that. Thanks to the Alumni Association. English no chapter at the bound, sir. Before February. So I think from the Alumni Association, today, thank you. The alumni humble, thanks to humble. English no chapter at the bound. And I'm sure that you are inspired. So many alums. Come back to the Alumni Association today. Because what is very important, humble. And I'm sure that you are inspiring so many alums today to come trust back to the Alumni Association. Today you are trust in the because what is very important. We were talking. I think we go very far. Trust. Today your trust in this institution. Thanks a lot. Today your trust in this alumni fraternity over here and now coming to Professor Narasimhan, we go very far. Last when we met, I thought we were in touch with the family of Vice-Chancellor. Thanks a lot once more. Gopal T gave a task to the alumni. Now coming to Professor Narasimhan, we need to figure out where the family is. I need to. Last when we met, also we were in touch with the family of Vice-Chancellor. Or closing the Felicitation, Gopal T inauguration building. Said when we are doing a large event where the family. That is the closing of the Platinum Jubilee celebration of Felicitation. Also, we need when we are doing closing the Felicitation of inauguration of the building, professors, and when we are doing a large event, that is the closing of the Platinum Jubilee celebration of Felicitation. We need to invite. So we embark on the journey today. Family members, fortunately or unfortunately, to touch base with and take the children of Mr. Narasimhan because they are very good. Speak. I can speak to family names are there. His son. So we embark on the journey. Fortunately or unfortunately, the world is very small. Turned out he was to touch base with the children of Mr. Narasimhan. I spoke to his daughter. We could speak. I could speak to. And his son, they convey or unfortunately the world is very small. It turned out nobody their dad. Okay, they said they would touch base. I spoke to his daughter and further also, and Shri Balaji son of Hyderabad said they are humble. He will also contribute to remembering their dad. Okay, and they said they will. But I cannot let the alumni try first. If there are any gaps, further also, then we see what can Shri Balaji. Sir, today it's not just your also contribute to this. The family of Professor Narasimhan. Each alumni, but I cannot let the alumni try first for this. If there are any gaps, and I'm sure what can this is just the alpha. Sir, today you have not just your alumni. My family of Professor Narasimhan. And I think this is each alumni here. I'm sure many more alums for this contribution made come forward, and I'm sure. This is just the alpha. And once again, thank you. You have and once again, Mr. Standing Ovation, please. Thank you. And I think it is one of the stop here. Sure, that you are and once again, thank you. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Standing Ovation, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for adding a touch of grace and enthusiasm to the gathering by sharing your thoughts on this special occasion.
Thank you.
I believe that productivity is always the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focus
Gopal T, respected Vice-Chancellor of Osmania University, very Professor Ravinder, Honorable respected Shri Gopal T, Shri Gopal T, Krishna Shri Gopal T, Krishna respected and respected President Vice-Chancellor of Osmania University, Alumnus Shri respected Registrar of Osmania University, Professor Laxminarayana, beloved principal heads from Professor Ravinder, different branches of Engineering College, President faculty from the electrical department, all of the faculty Shri other departments, family members of Shri Gopal T, Krishna scholars, heads from the student different branches of Engineering College, distinguished guests, faculty from Alumni Electrical Department. I welcome you faculty from other departments. Evening for family members of Felicitation to today's chief guest, scholars Shri Gopal T, Krishna is a donor of Professor Vice-Chancellor guest Alumni belongs to Department of Electrical Engineering, University College of Engineering, evening for Osmania University. That is Felicitation. On behalf of today's chief guest of Shri Gopal T, Krishna students is a donor of Professor Vice-Chancellor. We are very thankful to belongs to Department of Electrical Engineering, University College of Engineering, Osmania Department. On behalf of Electrical Engineering Department started to support civil engineering students, faculty, started on its. We are very thankful to started to have the civil engineering department on the name of technical laboratory for road. So that is why Electrical Department started to support civil engineering. Started to support the civil engineering. Not started on its own. 2 or 3 faculty started to help the civil engineering department on the name of requirements of society. So that is why it started Electrical Engineering Department has its own. From that day, initially it was started to support UG classrooms, PG classrooms. Some of the UG laboratories are there on this building. Based on the requirements of that society, those senior professors Electrical Engineering started for building. From that second building, that is the outside this road. UG classrooms, PG classrooms, faculty rooms, some of the UG laboratories in this building. Unfortunately, after that building which was constructed recently, senior professors not in a good condition. One building because of second building introduction of this outside this open electrics professionally for the faculty curriculum, headroom and whatever the classes we are having. But unfortunately, not sufficient. The building which was constructed recently, our senior is not in a good condition. Heads and distribution introduction of separate building, open at least professionally accommodate new classrooms which are there in this whatever the classrooms where the labs which are there in the not sufficient central. And it was a dream of our joint in 2007 previous heads. We came to distribution it was a dream of separate building at least for to but it was not materialized classrooms which are there in this building 2008 and the labs which are there in the construction. Requested today's chief guest Shri Gopal T 2007 as the but we came to that to our national dream of the senior professors. You know, but it was not materialized. Somewhere in 2008 we requested and addressed today's chief guest. He is Gopal T gave 1 crore rupees to the department. Chief guest was in our National Students Technical Festival. You know, excellence 2000 years. 1 crore rupees not he small amount. Even came and addressed by that time. Most of the senior professors gave 1 crore rupees to the department professors were there. Who knows Shri Gopal T Krishna. We were in area because the department not we were being small amount. Even you know, that time, by that time, of course, most of the seniors are were retired. 2011, 2 3 professors were there. Who knows? And he opened as then we all were, you know, very due to the so many technical and non-technical reasons, it was not materialized. Around 2024. After that, somewhere in 2011, somewhere in January, and he discussed what I said from then we support Krishna, but because of the message was that non-technical reasons was not centralized up to 2020. Because after that time there was a dialogue. Recently, that was ready to donate somewhere in the January to accept Professor But there was a regulation as per the governmental norms. The message was that whether you give money or not, sending a message to Professor Mangu. Because up to that time there was a dialogue money or not. That was ready to donate. Then we are ready to dialogue again whether. But there are rules and regulations. November 3rd, University of Government celebrated to start our Jubilee celebration. He himself ready a message to Professor and logo release function, saying that on that day what money also the alumni came and they promised that we were able to give because you know on November 3rd we will be the dream celebrated to start our Jubilee celebration electrical. That is the brochure and logo release function. myself and on that one Russian to most of the alumni came and they promised that they are going to be huge amount of money for the construction of buildings, say that fulfill the needs of whatever we want, this addition and all, political satisfied. Then immediately on one stone, myself and Professor was principal, that is the principal of later. Then we said, what do we do? Shri Gopal T said that, okay, but I want to whatever my selfishness, you want the same letter I put in the platinum jubilee immediately on one stone. Then Professor Ravinder and esteemed distinguished principal has they have a contact. And the reason is that let it be known to everyone. But I want to get my selfishness. All the same letter I put that sir, I will give jubilee WhatsApp. There would be there is no choice for 50 distinguished alumni are there. We used to have a contact. The reason is that getting information everyone. Sir, because once if it comes the alumni, then sir will give. There will be no choice. Then I got a message from India that the people, sir, got 40 lakhs of information from very. Sir deposited 40 lakhs. Then we thought of okay, principal one they contacted again. I got a message from India deposit office people. Then I have again I kept the same in all WhatsApp groups. We have already WhatsApp, okay, WhatsApp, the students WhatsApp, everybody surprised they contacted him. He said, then now I have only requested him that already have deposited 40 lakhs. I have again I kept the same message in all WhatsApp better like the thing. Have already WhatsApp group, faculty WhatsApp, the surprise WhatsApp group. Everybody surprisingly excited and we sent a letter on his birthday. We requested him, sir, he already have deposited. He said that probably that time some sort of discussion. Set his better like the thing. They are going to Jyotirlinga. The surprisingly, he said that this is the best gift in my life. He said best birthday on his birthday. So that he said I'm very happy. Probably that time that is good. After that, sir, we came to the department. Then all faculty said that this is the best gift in my life, best birthday gift in my life. We came to one conclusion. So we were very happy, sir. Then after that, sir came to us. Of course, by that time, all faculty members already formulated, but currently we discussed. And also we are very thankful to senior leaders, heads of the department, like Manjula Bhaiya, Laxminarayana, and after that we came to principal office. Of course, by that time. Because of all these responses formulated, they created one document. And also we are very thankful to because of that document. He asked us series of proof for what you wanted money, you wanted to deposit in money. Then I said, because of all these already document, they created one. I have shown the so because of that document, he asked me, okay, there are areas of land, what do you wanted to know in front of your department, there was gold quarter. Then I said, offices quarters, I have knowing already before this discussion, so then I have shown this mantle and land was ready. These were very mindful to their wonderful land and all these things, such and all in front of the department, there was a gold quarter because of offices quarters. Before this discussion, only that quarter was dismantled and the land was ready. Before this, we are very mindful to we were ready with the Vice-Chancellor, sir, and I gave to the other university Chandrasekhar, sir. There was one alumni because if you donate, they like 1 crore hard dollars. Before, but he take before having the money, the reason was that ready with everything. He expressed that there was no readiness. There was one alumni was this time because of all one of the senior professors words. We were ready, but he left confident that he got back. The reason was that we discussed so expressed that there is no readiness. When we discussed this time, 4 professors all of us have a tea or coffee. At the end, we got confident that even surgery, some other purpose so very ready. At the end, again, it was like this. About the when we discuss when 3 or 4 professors, everybody's got have a cup of coffee, tea or coffee. At the end, we should have the discussion on when we went some other purpose, and after that, at the end again, we went to wonderful rights about the building. Then everybody's got the building security. It's very nice because of lot of reforms. Because of Osmania University, what BSS told was better lines. Most of all of that on the same confident. We went to Honorable Vice-Chancellor's office, have money in Vice-Chancellor was given 100% security. During the discussion, lot of reforms happening in Osmania University. We told what BSS told. Today's courage was that most of the alumni were very confident. have internal funds of the college money, and then he is ready to give 1 crore, only 3 crores. During the discussion, but we need 9.95 crores. As per discussion, building today's chief guest was that 2 crores for studies and 9.95 crores internal funds of the college. We have more than 3 crores. He is ready because the university put a condition that unless we need 9.95 crores, as per it is not put in the UC. The cost of because 2 crores is 9.95 crores. Make building again we have now only 1 crore. Because the university there condition says that we have equality that will not put in the UC. Because 2 crores is already make building college. We have now only 1 crore. Again, but we asked for 4 crores. Then the Gopal sir said that not then I gave a letter. Through email he said that I am ready for 2 crores. So 2 crores already 5 plus 2 crores. Then 4 after going to 100 we asked for 4 crores. Again he said that then he gave a letter. So now email is giving. I am already deposited 90 lakhs of the 5 plus 27 has already promised to 4 crores. So after going to Honorable Vice-Chancellor in 1 day, then he said that like after having a discussion with Honorable Vice-Chancellor, now he said I is giving you more to the 1 crore already deposited 90 lakhs of near to 1 crore. He has already promised 4 crores to 5 plus 1 3 now in 1 day. Like after the meeting after the load discussion, when we get funding from that all of you more 3 crores, like 3 crores out of the low different column parts of the because society. So one time they will give it to next one 3 plus if it gets from the 10. So like the load means only better get funding from the distribution all of you. And like 3 crores they were very thankful for these parts of the alumni. And finally society as head of the department given to from on behalf of its faculty. Gets we do a lot of hard work. So like this, that's really because of used to see today we are number of Gopal Krishna and students are very thankful to sir. And finally, as head of the department in future, on behalf of most of the students should come forward. We do a lot of hard work. Consider the new buildings on the day they used to see more number of Gopal. That is not as a real students in asking. And I expect like future with most of the students come forward discussions concern the new buildings on the name of they because of your words. So that is not as a real very happy that they are in the profession and they are expecting like right choice in their life with these on behalf of all discussions these students scholars of all departments because of your words we promise you that teachers are feeling very happy that they are and also we promise that they will see that and their consumption will be a right choice in their life. And on behalf of the details of the building students, we have scholars of labs we promise you that PG class we do PG classrooms, 2 labs. And also we promise that first that the construction 200 capacity conference hall and 12 faculty rooms. One details of the building lab. We have 1 G labs in the ground floor. Actually we propose to have PG classrooms in the PG classrooms, but after discussion with the Gopal T first said that I wanted 200 capacity principal hall. That's a Godly 12 faculty will say 1 head. Then we convert lab. The faculty 1 committee room. See, actually we propose to have 1 staff room. Intention is that, but after discussion with Gopal T sir, he said that students I wanted to name for principal name. That's a Godly all over Godly name something. Then we convert together a few faculty room into received room. Almost 50 lakhs of rupees from the intention is that. And we also received 5 lakhs of students, the faculty also get 40 lakhs of rupees. Yes, already also can come. And so we are also having that because of introducing the internships to the students, received most of the alumni were having 15 lakhs of streets from the all coming forward to give the internship. Also received so like this because of UCE sir, bonus we are here and 3 lakhs of rupees as per your idea. We are also having introduced the internship. Once again, I feel thankful to the already were having industry right now as a researcher in internships. And so like this, because of your research, today we are here and thank you as per your experience. Once again, I am very thankful to the management, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Registrar,
So briefing about all the events and incidents that led to the happening of this event.
Thank you, Honorable.
Leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. And our beloved principal is a true embodiment for briefing about all the events. Professor University College of Engineering is the art of giving people to address the platform for spreading ideas that work. And our beloved principle is a true embodiment to it. I now request Professor P. Chandrasekhar, Principal, University College of Engineering, Osmania University, to address the gathering.
Professor D. Ravinder garu, Professor P. Laxminarayana garu, Registrar Osmania University. Good evening. Head Electrical Engineering Gopal T Visaga. Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Director Osmania University Ravinder garu, Dr. D. Vijay Kumar, Professor P. Laxminarayana garu, Registrar Osmania University. Faculty members, retired professors, Head Distribution Alumni, Professor E. Visaga, University College of Engineering. My dear students, Director Osmania Foundation, on behalf of University College of Engineering of the departments, faculty members, retired professors, Sharmani, the small world of University College of Engineering. My dear students, in fact, 16th February, on behalf of birthday, University College of Engineering, that day is a memorable day for me also. That day, I took over charge principal of the small University College of Engineering from Professor Sriram. In fact, 16th February is your birthday. Before getting over, that day is a memorable day for me also. That day, I took over charge as principal of the University College of Engineering. But from after 16th, the moment we triggered that amount, we therefore accelerated over and immediately on next Wednesday, that is 21st, we called for a advisory committee meeting. But after 16 months, the movement and as a special committee, we requested we accelerated to come and immediately started discussing Wednesday, that is 21st, we started only called for a advisory committee meeting as the main idea of the members were coming and as a special committee was also requested at any point project should not be and we started discussing. So that is the motive that we started examination on pro. Later, as the main idea, that's what even were coming from your investors also. I got the point, your project should not be, the project should be continued on. So that is the motive of the submission on part. So later, till what was his childhood, what was witnessing his journey, I got and yes, he has given message to his children, he are donating. So he is really inspiring the latter, really what was his childhood, what was, so dreams of the years, and as I mentioned, senior professors, retired, he has given message to his children and present teachers, students, really inspiring, even that was wish of Professor Vice-Chancellor, dreams of many, that's what as I mentioned, senior professors, department of engineering, alumni, a full-fledged present teachers, students coming to group, and even that was in fact wish of when we were started by Narasimhan Building also. That's what Honorable Vice-Chancellor said that there are several conversations on daily basis you have, so you should monitor it, all the activities. It's coming that time also. We were only thinking about fact when we were started, even on 16th February last year, 23rd said that there are several concessions are taking place. You have given permission, you should monitor for us. All the so much labor we understand also. We were only thinking with their background, College of Engineering and background, 23rd. For giving us permission, not only permission us, you have taken so much labor, we understand the plans, how to go ahead. Everything is very close. College of Engineering and Department of Guidance to our engineering. We will be grateful to you, sir, for giving us permission. Not only permission, we are thankful to you for giving what are the plans, how to go ahead to start with the thing. His Electrical Engineering Department also, along with guidance to our college. So, Vice-Chancellor sir and Registrar sir, we are thankful to you for giving us already permissions to start constructing Electrical Engineering Department also, along with my engineering. And we promise that with the guidance of our Registrar sir, we see that it will never be stopped as we will continue. And whatever the steps we have to take, we will see that and we will apprise the advisory committee also. Whatever we promise that, as you mentioned, we want to give our Registrar sir advance like that for giving us a stop. So we will continue not only for money, whatever the steps we will away commitment. See the price or building will be coming and whatever we will again immediately as I mentioned inauguration. We want to give 15 days advance time for giving us. We thank you how we do it and so not only for money, more than that it is our commitment. We see that
Laxminarayana garu, Registrar Osmania UCE, address the gathering.
And
Let
respected
us extend a warm round of
today's
applause.
chief guest, Shri Gopal T. Madam Srimati Rajkumar Krishna garu, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Namaskaram to everyone. Principal Aspect College, today's chief guest, Shri Gopal T. garu, Internal Department, Electrical Engineering, Madam Srimati Rajkumar Krishna garu, and Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Prof. Ravinder garu, Osmania University Foundation, Principal of this college, UCE College Alumni Association President, Prof. Felicitation, General Department, Electrical Engineering Department, Professor elderly and Alumni Association members, Max Osmania Foundation, and other colleagues, College Alumni Association President, my friend Dr. T. Alumni friends, faculty members, and elderly departments, Alumni Association members, colleagues, my dear Osmanians, and other colleagues, press and media. And mining, really today is the alumni day, friends, for the engineering college and faculty members, finance departments, for the Osman City, introduce the colleagues, great person, like Shri Gopal T. Krishna garu, press and media. Real college is we congratulate your achievements for the engineering college and your life university. And also remembering the Osman City great teachers like Professor Vice person like Shri Gopal T. Krishna garu, on his name and constructing a building because we congratulate your achievements and our department, your life complex. It's coming also remembering the great teacher like Professor Vice for the balancing also it's good for your name and constructing a building. Now mining is coming decided to the electrical engineering department classroom complex, and this is coming almost premises of the main building is there. There's a balancing for I think for the balancing also the other side like other side over there. There's one department. And now makes a difference actually at the side to the electrical of 5 crore is towards the construction. And this row is almost for survival. Main building is there. The balancing department. So it makes a difference. Other side is the commercial department. Because they give the initiation and it makes it difference actually. They can put the government of 5 crore cost towards the section of Alma Mater, University, Department of Electrical. So people are talking about it makes a difference how much money is given the first because this will give the initiation to the other 5 crores to the savings come forward as a great amount to the good amount Alma Mater of this college. And really thanks to the people are talking about teachers how much money is given the first more large motivation to the students. Usman and like some of the inputs to this, what is their real life, a good amount. So that was and Narasimhan really thanks the Usman for real teachers for the small kid to more even motivation to students at the top level. And some of the Narasimhan inputs to them, great what is our real life. But only that we observe the son was Narasimhan used to teach a lot of cigarettes. But really used to one after another. From the small kid to the one after another, another one used to top level pass. So we request what is the secret of smoking a lot. The only thing we observed is stop smoke a lot of cigarettes. So that one after another, he never stopped cigarettes. One after that, another smell continuously. So we request what is the secret of advising smoking a lot of cigarettes. So it's more good. But similar way, so he told that smoking is not continuous period. Smoking cigarettes was not good, but start continuously. But I think if you smoke, then you get more ideas and advising, more motivating words. Teach the students. That was I observed in that way. But once you now and continuous periods, yeah, the answer was not good, but start. So once you like, yeah, just a principle out that smoke, they share more ideas because Gopal is more motivation was to teach the students. That was I observed it. But to add into now and some he conducted a special. So once he applied just a principle road as February. So because next is 1 crore is about to conduct RCMI courses, 4 courses going to add. So he conducted because he conducted a special RCMI in India. So actually again going to conduct 6 February the month and next is 27th. So he's coming online of Hyderabad. Then he said that I'm coming. So we conducted because immediately we conducted a spot how long BC meeting and we told that he's going to come all our officials up to the month. They told March. They conveyed the tax officer all he's coming on and off the Hyderabad. Then he said we have to come in the next week. Smart City. So immediately we conducted the members that he's both of you and we the executive committee all appreciated Krishna garu. They told because thanks somebody all members. It's a good amount. A lot of other money to leave it. But not only the money, he has a working hard. Really, we thank you. That is very important, sir. What really we appreciate, Krishna garu. Because somebody told that charity told a lot of money. We will help you and support you. But not only the money, prayer has a big heart. Please work hard. That is a very important, sir. Really, we appreciate that. And if you have your heart to help the society will help you and support you. That all your preparation and initiations work hard. I think there are nearly 5,000 graduates and postdocs because that help the not only the Osmania nearly 4,000 plus. So you are the PG using information and initiation nearly 1,000. I think there are nearly 5,000 graduates are postdocs from the. So there is nearly more than 5,000 students are there. Nearly 4,000 plus using the 5 crores students nearly 1,000. At least you can mobilize UGNP matching grant of 5 crores, 100 really. So there is nearly more than 5,000 students are there. Take the initiation at the balance and the amount of 5 crores. The mobilized crores. The remaining people at least you can mobilize as a loan and matching grant of 5 crores. That really the repay you have to think about. The balance alumni of 5 crores, electrical mobilized. Just slightly leave the under crores another 5 crores as a loan. But now repay, definitely it will come up. The repay you have to think about every 5 crores. And inform this message to one more thing for all the teachers alumni of the electrical engineering. Not only friendly, conduct every year. Please be friendly, educating the students. Definitely motivate more than 5,000. Teach them what is the 5 crores, how to. So become a good citizen of this country. The teachers are a good Osmania engineering department. Definitely not only forward. They will help a lot of things. Please be friendly. The Telangana students, all the engineering graduates, majority 70% what is the life from the Osmania graduates. Become a good citizen of this country. As a good Osmania, definitely the police government, IAS, they help a lot of things because there are even group of Telangana, all the engineering graduates, majority 70% are to tell them from the Osmania graduates. In any office. Not only the engineering percent of other jobs also, not only in Hyderabad police department, IAS and national level also. And even group 1 officers, contract or Vice-Chancellor invite them to tell them, collect the all in any office, send one message, minimum 50% of Osmania are there. Not only in the Osmania, that is the, I think, national level also. Shri Gopal T is joined in to come back up, they are not there, please bring them back to electrical engineering and collect the all. So really, sir, thank you very much for their birthday. Donating honor them when they joined the Osmania city. I think Shri Gopal T is joined in a 4th batch of matching to create the matching grant for that. 14th batch. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for his family, his family friends, and good effort. Thank you a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. There is a challenge for us. We have to create the matching grant for that. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you to Shri Gopal T and his family and his family friends.
Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspiration. It is a privilege to welcome you for the enlightening and stewardship shapes the academic landscape of our esteemed institution. Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about, ladies and gentlemen, please join in welcoming Professor Ravinder, honorary Vice-Chancellor, Osmania UCE academic landscape of our esteemed institution, and whose leadership and vision continues to inspire us all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Ravinder, honorable Vice-Chancellor, Osmania University, to address the gathering.
Today's Felicity and Chief Guest of Osmania University, not in the name. Good evening to all of you. Osmania University, nobody one thing and is better off. Ravinder, Krishna garu. Today's Felicity and Chief Guest of family members, Osmania University, not engineering college. Principal of Osmania University College, Shri Gopal T. Krishna garu. So it is and is better off. Respected Registrar, Ravinder Krishna garu. I think generally I will use to say dynamic President of Alumni Association, Principal of what I say that university itself is a dynamic. So everybody is a dynamic. Our President is also dynamic. I think generally
devoted for the creative on behalf of the small city. I thank Mr. Gopal Krishna going to be generous contribution going to be written in the old electrical words building, particularly he devoted for the building for his own group. Already Vijay Kumar and the Registrar is going to be also Osmania. This time they are going to be written in the golden words and ordinance. I have come from the social science. In fact, addressed more number of times already Vijay Kumar and the Registrar because the opportunity provided by the college, particularly lot of activity and ordinance. I have come from the social science place of this college. Addressed more number of times in all the events and all the activities. Because I think the opportunity provided by the heroes college, so then lot of activities. Events place in this college. We under all the events because we are able to for the morning or G2 in fact, we under the cumbersome because we are resident each and every month for the morning whereas in fact generally any event I statement and its generosity then I can cumbersome myself with the Registrar personally I want secretary each and every month the principal secretary but whereas and we convened a special as and when the executive council meeting Gopal Krishna and its generosity which is then I think donated by the Registrar personally event which was written in the executive council notes and that's what it is special to say that executive council meeting this amount which is it never happened in the proud Alumnus and Osmania University which are written in the recorded executive council notes in the that's what the council notes say that anyone can look into that in the future also. It never happened in the history of Osmania University which have initiated number of activities that are recorded infrastructure development in the I'm not exactly council notes. The last 30 years, I proudly say that in the last 30 years, no impact, which means that they have not, which have initiated number of activating any Vice-Chancellors. Infrastructure, I respect all the Vice-Chancellors. I'm not exactly, they laid the foundations. The last, on their foundations, I proudly say that, which were the last 30 years, no Vice-Chancellors, which means that they have not implementing any Vice-Chancellors. I respect all the Vice-Chancellors buildings and they laid the foundations, the center. On their foundations only also in the building the so what I'm trying to say that what I think if we have a different positive like we have a positive approach. Academic buildings and at the same time on the center administrative building is also yes progress. I think my so what I'm trying to say I think my confidence I think I always positive way and we have a positive approach which I have to mobilize at least 100 crores under Osmania Foundation. Within 2 years I think my assumption achieve one my confidence. I think I always 1/4 of Vijay and other my colleagues happened which I have to mobilize at least this year but the Alumni Association which have been working hard to achieve 1/4 funds and I think I am also jealous about happening to engineering college and this year is not I think a lot of the Alumni Association which have been working hard particularly to generate funds but unfortunately and I think I am also jealous about coming to engineering college and even the US also. That is the I think a lot of I think I found students who settled as soon as they come back they are discussed and we discovered unfortunately we never adopted as a structure in the now it is a function which is heading by a cap that is the land cap which another word I think I found the cap which have created when they compare Rajashekar Rajashekar and heading that CSR alumni and now it as a structure cap means now it's CSR alumni and which is heading by 80 cap and the cap which another word when we have the interaction with the US Rajashekar Rajashekar heading that they said that the CSR alumni are earning hard on money CSR alumni $10 which has 80G are you going to 100%? Yes, we had the interaction with the US presidents on June 11 accountability. They said that we will live in responsibility. We are earning hard money believe in this $3, $10, and at the same time, if you provide $1, that way stays in our website. We believe in transfer, we practice, we believe in account that is maintained by CAPS and Osmania Foundation. Our administration is anybody believe in this 3, check it. And at the same time, even we receive $100 is from income side place, and at the same time the expenditure side is also practicing that is maintained by CAP, All India, single nation, anybody, anyone can check it also. Even we receive $100, another important as income side too, and at the same time the expenditure side is never in the should be avoided, and almost which are conducted the whole India, electricity, almost 2,500 alumni contributed. Together, another important aspect which I wanted to inform you that take back to never in the history of Osmania message of the respective global alumni when they were in the almost 2,500 students came together, and there was a major boost for the alumni back to Osmania, and we provided the message number of respective are also sensitized when they were in the associations in all the colleges students. I personally consider, and there was a alumni association, major alumni boost for the alumni association, fourth pillar of subsequently which have been conducting. The first number would 80, and now the second is HX, alumni association. Third is NGO in all the colleges. Fourth one is, I personally consider alumni association, alumni is considered as a like the fourth pillar of, I think the first is students, the second is teachers, everything of the fourth one is alumni. I think special thanks to Ravinder in light of this. I think so we make special thanks, especially and particularly on behalf of entire special thanks to we thank special Ravinder for encouraging, I think, Gopal because of you, generous, especially and I think it was the morning and the earlier also. We thank, we said that to you. Now, support this, that is what we challenge. They Sahara, in fact, I recognize that in the morning and the Padimani Sahara is said, but he said, nation support cheste, support cheste. That is nature. I think it's good. In Sahara, recognize then Padimani Sahara lacks of Gopal Osmanians. I think definitely magazine is whatever I am expecting 100 crores, not only it's going to feel it will reach the inspiration, but whereas most of these lacks which produce lacks of only one Osmanians, definitely whereas the IIT director whatever I am expecting deliver the lecture, not only that definitely it will reach. One dinner they hosted whereas the IIT they got 200 produced, which get 200 only one dinner. Whereas deliver the lecture. On one dinner, they got 200 days. We could able to 200 inculcation culture. So I would say that just an annual dinner all the departments, college, alumni associations, and to but at least we will be able to inculcation culture of Osmania Foundation. But at the same time, we are also utilized by all the departments and all the colleges, alumni associations. So with this frameworks and again in the Osmania Foundation, I very soon we are going to lay the foundation for the even the Osmania Foundation building. That is going to utilize for the also alumni. Thank you very much for all of the show. Thank you. So with this again and again, I heartfelt thanks to.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words and inspiring vision for our university future.
Thank you
We
very
are
much.
truly fortunate to have a leader of your caliber steering the ship of our academic community. Now, I request Prof. Sir P. Rajshekhar Garu, Director, inspiring to introduce the chief guest of today's function. We are truly fortunate to have a leader of your caliber steering the ship of our academic community. Now, I request Professor P. Rajshekhar Garu,
Distinguished guests,
Director,
invitees, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I, David have a proud privilege and honor in presenting you our most beloved and benevolent alumni, Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu.
Distinguished guests,
Osmania University had been in his life. I shaping his formative years and for laying the foundation of the journey. Our most beloved and benevolent alumni, Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu. Ladies and gentlemen, for in his opinion, Osmania University had been the place that has given so much shaping and a commitment to the students and for laying the foundation of the journey. Sir, Shri Gopal T. Krishna more than just financial in Hyderabad and methods, voice and multi-purpose. In his opinion, higher secondary school and the place that has given so much him and a commitment to the students in electrical shape of the year 1968. Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu getting schooling in Hyderabad and distinction voice and multi-purpose higher secondary school. And he also pursued MS school in electrical engineering from University of Electrical Engineering in 1968 from break from 1970 MSc in sanitation. I was and stood fourth in 1960 University. He also graduated MS Gopal T. Engineering in the University of Kansas in India. Completed MBA from Break from 1970 workshop. MS certified in Iowa State Professional 1980. Excellent achievement to his credit. Shri Gopal Engineer 1979. Licensed John Dunlop Sherman Woodward completed 470 hours of outstanding minority and certified quality. He professional articles in the field of electrical specifications. Outstanding sequencing batch 1979. John Dunlop Sherman Woodward 1979 is listed outstanding minority and biography international member of National International Medical Specification Plan, sequencing engineering for activities finance treatment. Shri Gopal T. and listed in prestigious in the world. Biography International India, men of Hamilton International Financial Center, Cambridge Annual Meetings, Iowa Engineering Society, in Finance Industry, President, Secretary of the President, and Iowa International Society in the world, has been the director. Shri Gopal T. has been chair of Finance Committee, possesses 90th annual membership Iowa Engineering Society. He has national president, secretary to the president, Iowa International Society, and has been the director of Shri Gopal Engineers Council of Iowa. Memberships. He possesses professional membership rights, Iowa Engineering Society, Senatorial National Society of Professional Engineers, United States Association, and many more. Member of Shri Gopal T. Political memberships, member of accomplishments include Lieutenant Elected President, Republican Senatorial Association of Iowa, and finally the President of Congressional Advisory Council of Iowa. Member of Shri Gopal T. Party, also member of Teaching Republican Party, President College Iowa, having taught Engineering Fundamental Iowa, and finally the President today, Shri Gopal Iowa, is now serving as the President of Krishna Engineering Teaching Consultants at Iowa. Simpson College, Iowa, having taught engineering fundamental and gratitude solving. And recognition today, Gopal who is now serving as the President of Krishna Engineering Consultants at Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, recognition celebrates stands achievements of contributions and recognition for long after they left the campus in their marks on their matter. This donation distinguished significantly accelerates the growth of recognition and celebrates achievements on global leadership. Graduates long after they left the campus, we will for sure capitalize. These donations will significantly accelerate the growth of the university and historically Osmania University on tier 1 leadership. Please join us in the promotion of generous foundation most will for sure capitalize philanthropic contributions towards advancing research and development at historic Osmania University. Tier 1 leadership. Please join us in the big round of applause and we honor our most beloved alumni.
Ceremony of Srimati and Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu in a way of expressing profound admiration for their exceptional contributions in the electrical engineering department. Their generosity, patience, let us now get milestones in the ceremony of Srimati and Shri Gopal electrical engineering department in a way of expressing profound admiration for their exceptional contributions in the electrical engineering department. Their generosity, Srimati and Shri Gopal milestones in a way transforms the landscape of our electrical engineering department and has a remarkable parent on engineering academy and university. request the dignitaries to perform the honors to felicitate our esteemed Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu as a symbol of I kindly request Professor P. Chandrasekhar Garu, Principal, University College of Engineering, Osmania University, to come forward and extend a token of appreciation to our esteemed chief guest, Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu, as a symbol of gratitude and respect. Now I request Professor E. Vidyasagar Garu, Head Department of Electrical Engineering, to extend a token of appreciation to our esteemed chief guest, Srimati Rajkumari Krishna Garu, as a symbol of her gratitude. And now I request Professor E. Vidyasagar Garu, Head Department of Electrical Engineering, to extend a token of appreciation to our esteemed chief guest, Srimati Rajkumari Krishna Garu, as a symbol of her gratitude. And now I request Professor D. Ravinder Garu, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Osmania University, and Professor P. Laxminarayana Garu, Registrar, Osmania University, to perform the honors to our chief guest. Now I request Professor D. Ravinder Garu, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Osmania University, and Professor P. Laxminarayana Garu, Registrar, Osmania University, to perform the honors to our chief guest. Without further ado, I now invite Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu to address this august gathering. Let us listen with open hearts and minds as he shares his thoughts, visions and plans for a bright future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu to address this august gathering. Let us listen with open hearts and minds as he shares his thoughts, visions and plans for a bright future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu with a strong applause.
Then I realized they know that I cannot hear from February 1st to the and they'll be talking in Telugu, which I don't understand. Talking about, sir, and they thought, yes, this is the right time for them the bell. And then I realized they know, so sooner or later when I found out that I'm donating that money, and they'll be talking in Telugu, which I don't understand. It was easy for me to donate that kind of money when I don't have that. Yeah, this is the right time to ring up the promises can be made much easier. So then I told them later, then I found out that I'm donating that money. So that it was easy for me to donate. I can donate money when I don't have that money. Because promises can be made much easier. Then I told them, okay, if you want today was the greatest day in my life. This morning, so that whenever I get my opportunity, I can donate it to the in reverence, hope to the sacred soil in the Osmania University. And today was the greatest day in my life. And this morning, I had the opportunity to protect our building while in construction, reverence, and for many decades, sacred soil after the Osmania University. And I really pray and I want to express, protect our sincere construction attitude to, and for many decades, professor, while after the construction. My mentor, my guide, and that is why I insisted, and I want to express to be on my sincere gratitude to my dear Professor Narasimhan, my mentor. I am guiding light on the teachers, and that is why I insisted principal to be on the building, who taught me in Methodist Boys High School. I am grateful to all the teachers, the lab personnel. I am grateful, and many others. Headmasters in the engineering departments in the Osmania in the Methodist Boys High School. They taught not only to me, but grateful to hundreds and thousands of students. I have a deep respect for them. And many others. I want to say who taught me that without them, I would not be here in the Osmania University. They taught not only to me, but hundreds and thousands of students. I have a deep respect for them. I want to say appreciation that without them, I would not be here today. To our Vice-Chancellor, to Ravinder, and to the Registrar, Felicitation, I want to and convey my deep appreciation and thank you to all of the Vice-Chancellor and the Association, and to the Registrar, Laxminarayana, and to all principal in the electrical and especially those people, head of the Alumni Association, head of the department, and all the faculty and more electrical engineering department, especially these people who have been so tirelessly for the last 6 years, and they have been dreaming about this day for a long time, and more. And I'm happy that this happened today. All these people worked so tirelessly for the last 6 years. It's my endless hope that all they have been dreaming about this day for a long time. New facilities, and I'm happy that it's my record today. We reach there. It's my interest in their profession. Take care of their families, that all the students take care of their responsibilities, the new face honor their professors, just like I break my record. That is the reason I can reach their pinnacle, and that is the reason I'm very happy. Take care of their families. I want to say thank you. Take care of their responsibilities who have come and honor that long for their professors. Just like I want to say thank you. That is the reason I gave family members, and that is the reason I'm very happy. Who came from, and I want to say thank you for this, to all of you who have come and waited that long for this ceremony. I want to say thank you to all family members, Ramesh, special thanks to Murtiga, who came from Choigaru, all the way my best friends since 1970. We have been friends for a long time, and they came all the way from Sargent to, and I want to thank you to give nice to all of you, special deals to Murtiga and Laxminarayana, who were my best friends since 1970, and they have been friends for a long time, and they came all the way from Sargent to, and don't want anymore. It's nice to say that I worked for a long time here and be able to do everything that I continue to contribute to the environment. Register and everything to say them on February 16 until I don't vote that you pray that I work for a long time and be able to do everything. So one of these days in this year, I have just turned 77, so I can have one more 7 for the 7 years. My birthday, so I will have 7 back in the day, and want to thank God. So one of these days, in this year, I have to go to Tirupati, so I can have one more 7 years and 7 years to my birthday, so I will have 777. And want to thank God for giving me all these opportunities and all the people who encouraged me to do this and cooperate.
We are very grateful for the wisdom and inspiration you have imparted to us today. The depth of knowledge and experience shared today serves as a guiding light for all of us as we navigate our own journeys. I now request Dr. D. Vijay for the wisdom and inspiration you have imparted to us today. The depth of knowledge and experience shared today serves as a guiding light for all of us as we navigate our own journeys. I now request Dr. D. Vijay
and
to
take a
take
photograph
over
of it,
from now.
formally that, Gopal Krishna Garu is donating. I think it's a big day amounts to. I think it's become a norm nowadays.
కొంచెం సైడ్
Print
ప్రసాద్
a
గారు
big check, okay, and take a photograph of it, formally that,
ప్రసాద్ గారు సైడ్ నుంచి
Gopal Krishna Garu is donating amounts to.
తల ఫ్లాష్ వస్తుంది కొంచెం సైడ్ ప్రసాద్ గారు ప్రసాద్ గారు సైడ్ నుంచి తల ఫ్లాష్ వస్తుంది ప్రసాద్ 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 ప్రసాద్
Now I think we each one of us who's come here, college-wise, department-wise, group-wise, we are honors to Shri Gopal T. Now I think we each one of us who's come here, it's College of Engineering principal, college-wise, along with department staff, group-wise, we are honors to Shri Gopal T. Krishna Garu. First and foremost thing, it's College of Engineering principal, along with his staff and directors, would like to honor Gopal Krishna Garu.
After all these things happened today, I realized that I should be student here because I know Vice-Chancellor, I know the principal, I know the head of department, I know everybody, so maybe they will do. After all these things happened today, I realized that it's nice to be, I should be in a position to know all the things. I know Vice-Chancellor, I know the principal, I know the head of department, I know everybody, so maybe I'll get a better graduate for so it's nice to be in a position to know all the big wigs, so I should be able to talk to them. Maybe they will give me good marks.
Now
Maybe
I
I'll get a better grade.
I think another department,
And I'm very happy.
Department of Electrical Engineering is going to felicitate Chief. And I think there's a little cake cutting ceremony that the electrical. Now I think another department Department of Electrical Engineering is going to felicitate Chief. And I think the little kids request all the electrical children have come to the stage and not from you. Thank you. First faculty, there is students. First faculty. First all. Request all the department.
లైవ్ తీసేస్తే ముంగడికి వస్తారు నాకు ఇది పెట్టి
First faculty, then students. First faculty. First all.
చూసారా లైవ్ అదే నాకు మీరు లైవ్ తీసేస్తే ముంగడికి ప్రాబ్లం వేరే ఏం లేదు ముంగడు ఎంత హైట్ లేపినా కూడా ఫ్లాష్ అవన్నీ లేవు వస్తున్నాయి అదే నాకు మీరు అడ్డం ఉంటున్నారు కదా ప్రాబ్లం వేరే ఏం లేదు ముంగడు ఎంత హైట్ లేపినా కూడా ఫ్లాష్ అవన్నీ లేవు వస్తున్నాయి తొందరగా తీసుకొని సైడ్కి ఇవ్వాలి
ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్స్ ప్రసాద్ గారు బాగుందా
తొందరగా తీసుకొని సైడ్కి ఇవ్వాలి
ఫోటోగ్రాఫర్స్ ప్రసాద్ గారు బాగుందా
Shush.
Thank you. Now the cake cutting. Chief quickly.
సైడ్ కొద్దిగా
Thank you. Now the cake cutting. Chief quickly.
సైడ్ కొద్దిగా
Thank you. Thank you. Dikshit, where are you? Can you please be seen? Dikshit. Now, Dikshit, where are you? Can you please be seen? Engineering students, Dikshit, come up. Quick. Guys, no time. Now we request the electrical engineering students to please come up. Oh, there's a whole gang. Please, quick, fast. Quick. Guys, no time. Jogi. Oh, there's a whole gang. Please, quick, fast. Jogi. Alumni, just hold for 2 minutes. Alumni, just hold for 2 minutes. have our Vice-Chancellor Garu and Registrar Garu leaving for the day. There's another meeting. Rest all, please be seated.
Sir, look here, sir. Little bit smile, sir.
We have our Vice-Chancellor Garu and Registrar Garu leaving for the day. Thank you. There's another meeting. Before the other departments, I think Hyderabad Science College folks would want to biomedical, computer science, electronics, civil, please stand by. Thank you. Children, can you quickly move? Quick. Before the other departments, I think Hyderabad Science College folks would want to biomedical, computer science, electronics, civil, please stand by. Keep moving. Children, can you quickly move? Quick. Up to nail body. Children, quick. Children, keep moving. Pradeep, please, we can take. Children, who's waiting? There's a lot many people waiting. Guys, children, again the dance. HOD, Ravinder, sorry. Pradeep, please, we can take. Who's waiting? There's a lot many people waiting. Guys, please vacate the dance. HOD, Ravinder, we have Hyderabad Science College, Alumni Association, Secretary and President over here, Shri Ashok Garu and team. Next up, Hyderabad Science College, Biomedical, Alumni Association, Secretary and President
Prasad,
over here,
జరిగిన సైడ్
Shri Ashok Garu, Biomedical and team. Next are other departments, biomedical.
ప్రసాద్ జరిగిన సైడ్
Biomedical, next biomedical. Biomedical. Ashok Bhaiya. Thank you, Ashok Bhaiya. Next biomedical, we have biomedical department, HOD, biomedical, Dr. Suman and Vidyasagar. That's the biomedical department. We have biomedical, computer science department, HOD, along with next electronics, Dr. Suman and civil Vidyasagar, Dr. Vidyasagar. That's the biomedical department. Yeah. Computer science is what done. Computer science, next electronics, computer science, civil, Professor Sudha. Yeah. Biomedical is what done. Computer science, HOD over here. Mechanical science, HOD, green line, thank you. Yeah. Sudama. We have ECE department, principal probably saying my department, mechanical saying that anymore, green line, thank you. The ECE department, you have HOD, Professor Krishna Garu, then you have Professor Naveen. We have ECE department, principal probably saying my department, you should not be saying that anymore. So ECE department, you have HOD, Dr. Professor Krishna Garu, then you have Professor Naveen and Dr. Bharati.
course, we joke about it, we meme about it. It's a really hard reality of our lives. But we have gotten used to it. We expect crazy regulatory changes at any given moment. I say that because that comes before technical skills. Now, of course, you need talent and technical skills and expertise to build, systems. You have to sit and write software. You look at the peers and suddenly, that other organization has 50 people. So we have to hire. We need product managers. We need more developers. We need more dedicated designers.
Right.
We need to build a certain thing. It needs to be able to handle, let's say, 1 million users. Whatever in that, context. Let's go serverless, or let's pick this cloud. That's very top-down thinking. So it has to be first principles. And I've been getting annoyed and I've been getting frustrated. And that typically is inspiration to tinker and write something on your own. So for unit conversions, I could just write a simple bash script for myself. A lot of forces really altruism, right? Some of the most valuable projects in the world that all of us, millions of people use, are made by a handful of people who make it because they like making it. They struggle to make a living with a difficult job, and at the same time they contribute their personal time and effort into a FOSS project that they give out to the entire world. Back then it was just me. When we started Zerodha Tech, it was just me. I was sitting there, I'd go sit with non-tech folks, find the problems, write Python scripts taught to me. And at some point, I had too many, people got the taste of automation. It wasn't even tech, it was automation. And the stack has largely stayed the same. It's Go, Python for stuff, Postgres, Redis, Kafka NATs, and all performing what they do best. Our annual bill is probably not even like an Instagram campaign for many startups. That's how low the bill is. At the end of the day, no matter how sophisticated your CI/CD system is, it's a Linux program that is going to be killed or sig-hubbed or restarted. That's it.
Hey, welcome to yet another episode of Scale Up Pod. And today we have someone with us that has been very fairly demanded from every episode we have shot till now. People have commented that please bring Dr. Kailash Nath to the episode. So we have him today. Thank you so much for taking out your time.
Thank you.
Which will tag team with SpaceX.
So we will, of course, have a lot of things to talk about. I would definitely start off with my pet question that I've been doing for every episode is like, what does a day in your life look like, and mostly in context of work. And I've gotten very different answers, so I'd love to
carrying the first crew of humans.
Firstly, again, thanks for having me here. Hearing Dr. Kailash Nath is a little awkward. You could just call me
I know. I won't do that anymore, but that's like, I've seen like Nitin post Dr. K every time, and I really like that.
yeah, that's my nickname. So, how a day looks, it has changed drastically over the last few years. And there have been distinct faces. But what has been constant here, maybe a little peculiar in our industry, is the regulatory weight. And you wake up, you have certain plans for the day.
ఇప్పుడే పంపిస్తాను సిస్టర్. బాబు, నువ్వు సరైన వెబ్సైట్ నుంచి ఫోన్ నెంబర్ తీసుకుని కాల్ చేసావా లేదా మొదటే వచ్చిన దానికి చేసావా? యూపీఐ అంటుంది ఏ కంపెనీనైనా సంప్రదించాలంటే దాని అధికారిక వెబ్సైట్ కి వెళ్ళండి, చేయండి అని. మీ డబ్బుని మీరే కాపాడుకోండి. వీళ్ళ సంగతి నేను చూసుకుంటాను. నీకు ఫోన్ పెట్టేసే లేదంటే కళ్ళు పీకి మీరు కూడా ఈ వీడియో షేర్ చేయండి. మీ చుట్టుపక్కల ఉన్న అమాయకుల్ని కాపాడండి.
Crazy number of regulatory changes in the industry, all for the better, but really difficult ones. So days are really unpredictable. You get on with a certain project that you've been working on, and suddenly you have to pause, suspend absolutely everything, and
as we
firefight
live from
for the next several days. So there's been a lot of that lately.
Jeffrey Kluger at the Time magazine.
And on a more personal note, like apart from everything that's happening in Zerodha and everything,
since the final flight
get time
of the
on
final
a regular
space
basis
shuttle,
to sort of
which
tinker
means
around
it's
with
been
things.
9 years since the United States has had the capability to launch
does that
its
happen in
own
pockets of time? Do you try to schedule some time for that?
From its own
scheduling is impossible.
That's
but
the longest America has been
try to
grounded since
find
Alan
time
Shepard
regularly,
became the first
late
American
evenings,
in space,
largely,
59
and mostly,
years ago this
full
month.
weekends. So I
In
dedicate
that
a lot of
time,
time.
America launched
I feel if I don't do that,
Mercury
I'll start
missions,
maybe
10
getting bored of
two-person
things in
Gemini
general.
missions,
So for me,
15
finding time
three-person
for
Apollo
hobby
missions,
is a necessity. And of course, I
135
enjoy it.
missions of the space
It's a win-win.
Right,
But
right.
yes,
Every
very
single
regularly.
one of those spacecraft
Another question around that, because very interesting. I've heard a lot of answers from quite a few
they were
folks.
effectively
Is
designed
about
by NASA
like
and
when
then
you are
built to order
managing
by a company
team and
hired to do the job.
been doing it for a while.
The SpaceX Crew
sort of
Dragon
the importance
vehicle that
of
will take astronauts
writing
Bob
code, and I've
Behnken
gotten
and Doug Hurley
fairly
to
different different
space
answers from
today
people as
will
well.
be the
So what is it for you?
privately
Like,
designed
how
and
much is it
built
just
rocket and
hobby? How much is it do you think
spacecraft
you
ever to
really need
fly
to do
human
that
crew.
to stay abreast of things?
History will be made by the
Staying
mere fact
abreast
that
of
America
things
is getting
as a
back into
specific
the
goal
space
is
game.
something that I
And
don't
more
really think about
history
because
will
I
be made
write
by the
code
fact
on a regular basis
that
anyway.
feat will
So I
be
never
achieved
had to.
in
I've
so
never
different
been
a way.
at a point where I think back and
We have
think
what's
that,
known as
oh,
an
I'm maybe losing touch.
instantaneous launch
But
window.
that
at,
said, that's
Cape
absolutely
Canaveral
necessary.
today. And what that means
Unfortunately,
is
we
when
get
this
to
rocket
see,
takes off, this
especially in
rocket
our
can take
industry,
off at
heavily regulated
322,
capital markets industry.
period. It
Lots
can't
of
take
people
off at
who
322
completely
and a
lost
half.
touch
It
with
can't take
technology in
off at
general, making very
322
technical
and a
decisions,
third.
and often wrong
That's
ones.
because
So I think
it
that is
has to
very
rendezvous
necessary.
with the
But
International
because
Space Station,
I
which is
regularly
currently
write
in
software,
an
just
orbit
like
with
all of us in our tech team,
1.6
it hasn't
degree
really
inclination to
been
the
a thought.
equator. That's a
And
pretty
why do
high
I write it? I
inclination.
mean, I like it.
At 250 miles of altitude.
If I couldn't write software, I
the
wouldn't be,
spacecraft
doing what
will
I'm
launch
doing.
from an entirely different orientation.
So I have a question on,
Basically,
because
that
we were
means
saying about like
19
regulatory
hours of chasing the space
nightmares
station
that happen, and
before the
I think it's
crew
fairly
catches up with
discussed
it.
in terms
It'll
of
take
like
only 12 minutes
say
to get to
a business
space.
impact,
It'll
or
take
like
a full
sometimes
day
whole
almost
fintech
before the
companies
crew
pivoting because of
actually
that.
does.
Yeah.
I
Bad
would
weather
obviously want
scrubbed
to
the
use
the
this
launch,
opportunity to also delve a little bit into
last week
how does it
or on
impact
Wednesday,
like a tech
and
team
there
working on
is a
something. For example,
lot that can
I mean,
go
I'm
wrong when
a
it
regular
comes to
user
the
of
weather.
Zero,
NASA
that's
has
my
a whole
trading platform,
series of
and
rules,
I think you have to directly pay for mutual funds now. I think a
dictating
couple
when
of months back,
spacecraft
the regulation came in,
grounded.
it sort of
You
changed
don't launch
because I
within
just
10
put my funds in one
miles of an
place,
attached
stocks and MS in the
thunderstorm.
same place.
You don't launch
Now you have to do
within
that
3
UPI
nautical
thing.
miles of thunderstorm
So when
debris
something like that
clouds.
just suddenly drops,
You don't launch within
right,
5
and I guess
miles of disturbed
you don't really
weather.
get a lot of
You don't
forewarning or
launch
something
within 10
around stuff
miles
like
of
that
cumulus
usually, right?
clouds.
So when something like that
There's
drops,
rule
like
after rule after rule
from a tech
intended to
perspective, like
keep the crew
what
safe.
are your usually
This
next
isn't
steps?
to
Like
say
maybe
that people
well-oiled
haven't
machine,
launched
everything is
in
going on, and
dangerous
suddenly you have
conditions
to
before. They have.
cater to this.
The Apollo 12
So thankfully,
crew,
I think one
which
of the
launched
things
in
that we
November
cracked early on as a
1969
team was
actually struck by
handling
lightning
scenarios like
barely
this.
a minute
If
after
we
it got
didn't
off
have
the
a
pad, causing
very
the
specific
entire electrical system
and
to
rather
drop
sane
out.
framework for
So that was a
handling
cautionary tale.
these regulatory
Shuttle,
scenarios, I
the
think
Shuttle
you'd have
Challenger,
found it extremely hard to cope
was,
with
of
like the
course,
huge number of changes that we've seen over the last many years. And
tragedy in
if a tech team
1986
is
when
constantly
Challenger blew up on
pressurized and
liftoff, a
burdened
great deal
with
had to do
making regulatory
with flying
changes,
in
scrapping
cold
systems you've
weather
built
when
just
the
because
O-rings
regulations
that
change,
sealed the,
if you don't
solid
truly
fuel,
internalize and accept that
and the solid fuel boosters
that is
on
the
either
reality
side
of
the
life in this
spacecraft,
industry, it's very
became
difficult to survive.
brittle and burned
So
through,
thankfully, very,
causing the
very early on,
explosion
like
that
almost a
claimed
decade
the crew's
ago, we
life.
kind of
So
realized
weather
this.
is a
And how we
critical
build
issue
software,
in any
architectural
launch,
decisions,
and it
software
will be an
decisions,
issue in today's
business
launch,
slash
as
product
disappointing as
feature
it was on
decisions,
Wednesday
all of that is
when
heavily
the
based on this
spacecraft did not
regulatory
launch on
framework.
time. We had to
So
be
one of the
prepared for
exercises that
possible
we do is to
disappointment
try
again
and
today.
foresee what
Safety
could,
is
common
paramount
sense
in a launch like
changes.
this,
You know that, oh, it works a
especially
certain
in
way,
a
but there's a
first
high
test of a
probability that
first
3 years from now,
spacecraft
it
with the
might
first
change
new
because of
crew
regulations.
flying.
So that foresight, as an exercise, we try to incorporate into all our software decisions, even things that, even writing modules for certain software, you kind of, expect that, this might have to be scrapped.
Got it.
So when you do that, and all your decision making in any business idea, any product, any software architecture, when it all incorporates these tiny little things, this form of decision making over time, it kind of puts you in a place where things aren't as hard. Yes, you still have to scrap systems, but you foresaw that anyway. And if you get 80% of that right? I mean, of course, it's super annoying having to delete everything, stop everything, but it's not impossible. We could have been, once you get to a certain scale and risk increases, it would have been extremely risky to just scrap things if things were not built to be scrapped. So everyone in the team, of course, we joke about it, we meme about it. It's a really hard reality of our lives. But, we have gotten used to it. We expect crazy regulatory changes at any given moment. And thankfully, our systems and processes are 80% always ready to be tweaked and scrapped. So we cope with it. But it's been a long exercise of thinking like that, a long time in the making. And we got really lucky that we wired ourselves to accept that.
Slip into it easily, and it
Makes
plugs
sense.
directly
I have a
into the
a
life
question about
support
also
systems
sort of
of the soup.
the
We
product
now have
philosophy,
some
especially in Zero's
interesting
context. And thought of if I ever get somebody to talk to at Zerodha and ask about this, because, for example, every day, like there are hours during the night when some of the functionality on the app and all stop, right? And it's just a philosophical decision, I believe, because somebody can build a product not having those things in place. Like, how did it come to be? I just really want to have a broader perspective on how did it come to be. Like, why do you have a maintenance time every day? As a UX, it does not affect me. I'm very fine because 2 a.m. at night I'm not trading stuff. But it does happen. So how did it come to be? Like,
it's not a philosophical decision. You know, we are forced to have maintenance windows. Not just us, it's basically the norm in the industry. And back in the day, it would be like a 7-hour, downtime where all systems go down and, lots of stuff happens. But today we've brought it down to, let's say, an hour and a half. So why it happens is that this industry is EOD. End of the day, it's
settlements and all.
Correct. So this entire industry runs on end of the day settlements. All the real-time trades that you do, investments that you do throughout the day, they are real-time. That them being real-time is kind of an illusion. The actual settlement only happens at the end of the day. So for us, if we process, let's say 15 million orders in a day, we get 15 million orders worth of data dumps from the exchange. On a volatile day, that can be delayed. So you get data from many different sources, like dozens of massive dumps at the end of the day. You have to crunch everything, you have to do settlements, you have to reconfigure users' accounts, balances, etc. You have to send copies of the results to many different institutions, exchanges, depositories, etc. So that these are really long and complex processes. There could be, you could have 6 data dumps that you were waiting for, but the 7th one could be randomly 2 hours late. So when these processes are happening, and these are really complex processes, and we put in humongous amounts of work to bring them down from 20 hours to 8 hours to 4 hours to, let's say, 20 minutes. Just last week we rewrote our entire contract note. You get that PDF at the end of the day process, right?
Yeah.
So that had over time, this is I think the 5th rewrite in the last 7 years. So with this new rewrite, everything is done in 20 minutes, including pushing out, let's say, 1 million emails. But while these things are happening, the state that you see on your trading platform, that's already state. But once the new states are computed, new balances, new positions, new results, new everything, they have to be loaded into all these systems. Now, just processing itself could involve, let's say, recomputing 100 billion rows of financial records, historical prices. So all of this has to happen, and the new states have to be loaded onto the rail car. So we made it so that while all of these things are happening, we can still access everything. But that loading process, the sheer volume and size of data that has to be refreshed, the new states, that takes some time. And like I said, we've brought that window down to, let's say, an hour. And it's an unfortunate side effect of the nature of end of the day settlement. And if you haven't put in huge amounts of engineering effort, it'll be hours and hours, and you'll be down for, let's say, 8 hours throughout the night. But yeah, it's not a philosophical decision. We are forced by the
kind of situation.
And it's an ongoing exercise to bring that window down as much as possible.
Kennedy Space Center, there are actually
makes a lot of sense
2 active mission controls.
So hearing about, of course, like the process that goes behind, like you're saying, millions of trades happening every day,
the Kennedy Space Center,
reconciling all of the data.
There is a launch control center.
This is obviously a question about
SpaceX
like how do you achieving all of this with a small team, and it's a question that keeps coming in a lot of places. I've seen. I think once you replied on a Reddit thread about we are really just 30 people. I've known a few of people in your team from some time back, so I really know that it is 30 people. For the audience,
basically,
you're not faking it, but I mean,
cooperation.
It's very common for a lot of people in the industry to early stage career places they have worked. They have probably seen
what we're seeing now is the area around the
maybe the perspective that it gives a lot of people is that moving around this amount of data, millions of users, it's probably just not something we can even achieve with
ramp and the
less than 300 engineers or something.
Historic crews
so I'd love to get your perspectives around, like, of course at zero the house being achieved with so less people, and I love that you had a point there that this should be the norm for a lot of industries as well.
This is the Apollo 11 crew.
So, yeah,
This
how
is
is
the
it
first
possible?
crew to
Where are the
fly
places where it
Space
can be
Shuttle.
possible?
Bob Crippen and John
Firstly, it's
Young
very
in
difficult to answer.
1981.
So
This tragically
the
is
question
the Challenger
typically
crew
comes
at
top
their
down.
walkout
How can you do
on
all
the
of
way
this with,
to
let's say,
their
30
flight.
people?
Yes.
But we never
Similarly
set out
is
to
the
do any of this
Columbia
with
crew,
any number of
the
people.
crew that
We
was
started
lost
out really
in
small and things just
2003
happened to
when
be.
their
So it's very
spacecraft,
important to
broke up on
go
re-entry.
from
There have
the
been
bottom
many
up
more
when looking at
successful
this.
missions,
So that
coming out of
you know,
these doorways,
so there's no formula
over
for
the
replicating.
course of
Tomorrow, let's say you
decades,
want to
then there
build a
have
product
been,
like
these
Zerodha,
periodic
but
tragedies.
maybe
You see
that's
Bob
something that only
Behnken
happens
and, Doug
one
Hurley.
tenth
This
of the
is
scale.
from last
Now,
Wednesday
could you do that
during
with
their
5 people or 10
walkout,
people or 50 people?
wearing
It's
the
impossible to say
new,
or no.
SpaceX
So
spacesuits.
it's
They
literally
are
a
climbing
function
into
of
a
the
gull
time
wing,
that we've put in and how the team has come to be.
Tesla,
Now,
one of
as I
Elon
said
Musk's
earlier,
companies,
everyone in the
on
team
their
has
way
a
to
certain way
the
of
launch
thinking. You
pad.
know, that regulatory
We are
framework, the
told
framework
that
of
on
risk that we
flight,
operate in,
on
we
that
really
drive to the
understand.
pad last
Now, if you
Wednesday,
were constantly
their audio
burnt out
track
by that and if you were unable to
included,
collaborate,
AC/DC,
a
the
30-member
Blues
team could
Brothers,
never
and the
build
Star
any
Spangled
of that.
Banner
So
to
the
get them
key is
into
that
a
we gel really
patriotic
well
mood.
with each other. You know, we know how to have fun.
Look at the
we know
pad
how
right
to,
now is
you know,
not
work around our
enormously
mistakes and
promising.
laugh about our
The
mistakes
cloud
and also
cover
laugh at our
obviously,
successes. So I think the
suggests
way
that
the
there
team
could be
has
some
evolved
weather
over the
delays
last
again
9+ years
today. Of course, a weather
to
delay
this tight-knit
effectively
gang
means a scrub because,
plays
as we
probably
said,
the
we have
most
a
important
3:22
role
PM
in this outcome.
instantaneous launch
How
window.
how a
It
30-member
slammed
team
shut
can
at
build stuff
3:22,
or
and
large-scale
at that
stuff. They have to
point,
work
the
really,
crew
really well with
could,
each other. I
would
say
have to
that
wait again until
because that comes
tomorrow
before
at
technical
3
skills.
PM.
Now, of course, you need talent and technical skills and expertise to build, systems. You have to sit and write software.
Right.
But if you had a bunch of people who were exceptionally technically skilled, but who couldn't work with each other, especially in an environment like this, heavily regulated, the team would fall apart in no time.
Right.
And so that really is key. How we've stuck to our principles, how we've been grounded since day one. When we had 5,000 users, let's say in 2013 to today, 10+ million users, our attitudes have not changed. We stick together. We collaborate well. We write software, scrap software, rewrite
What we're
software for the
seeing
6th
here
time.
is the
We have
swing
fun.
arm,
And
attached to
that also
the,
means
Crew
that
Dragon
the decisions are
spacecraft.
objective and
That
technical.
swing arm
The moment
runs
you
from
have,
the
let's say,
gantry, that
tech versus
scaffolding that stands
management divide,
next to the rocket.
I think it's
and
impossible. I
provides
mean, it
the
doesn't
crew
matter if you have 30
access
people, 40 people,
to
100
the,
people. I mean, it would be
to
very,
the
very
spacecraft
difficult.
itself.
For people to stick together, they have to be in an
the large
environment that
building
they
we
are
were just
comfortable
looking
in,
at was a
especially
vehicle assembly
technical
building
folks
where
who are
the,
creative. And writing
rocket
software is not
as the name
only scientific,
suggests,
it's also a creative
assembled
endeavor.
and uprighted.
So again, you'd see that there's
we
no
are back
formula
at the
here.
pad
It's
here.
really about people
The
and how people work with
site
each
of
other.
the flag
And thankfully, again, from the
waving
very,
as
very
briskly as it
beginning at
was in the
Zerodha,
breeze.
we haven't
It's
had
not
that
necessarily
technical
the best
versus management
indicator
divide, as in,
of,
you
ideal
suddenly get
weather as
email
is
requirements
cloud
from the
cover.
management,
But
no
for
questions
now,
asked, and you're supposed
all
to build it.
systems are still
You'll never be able to
considered
build
go,
quality
and the
software
flight is still a go
with
for
solid
3:22
philosophies
PM.
and rationale if that's how it functioned, where someone sent you a requirement, you had no idea why, and you were forced to do it.
Right.
So from the very beginning, we've been conscious of that, and that how the tech team works with non-tech teams, it's been philosophical and it's been very collaborative. Everyone sits down together. So anyone could bring up an idea, propose an idea. People can shoot it down. People are free to shoot ideas down. In fact, probably 95% of all ideas that we proposed have been shot down objectively. And tech and non-tech teams, they know, we have the right culture where people respect such objective decisions.
Right.
So that also has meant that people with deep financial domain knowledge, mostly non-tech folks. Now, today, tech folks also understand lots of, bits, financial bits, but in the early days, it was all the domain knowledge were with the finance folks, right? But because we were able to work hand in hand, it was possible to bring that deep financial knowledge and the creative endeavor of writing software for finance together. People sat together. All of us have always sat together on the same floor. You just walk up, have a discussion, decision, debate, decide. Right. So it's really that. It's really that culture that has enabled us to build whatever we built with just 30 people. And it just happened to be that. And of course, skills and the right kind of technical decisions are absolutely necessary. Wrong decisions could be disastrous. So of course, there's that too. We put in humongous amounts of engineering effort and R&D effort. Right. But going back to that number, how can such a small team achieve something like this, absolutely how the team works with each other. It's the culture and philosophies.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is I think a discussion around like what sort of the team size you need to achieve something. And I've had with other folks as well in the past. And I remember actually early days when I used to run a startup, and we had like 3 full-time engineers and a couple of interns. And there was a time I had come to a conference in Bangalore, and there were some other edtech founders, and we were talking about, and then they said like, what kind of numbers and all you're doing. And I said that, okay, maybe 1 or 2 million a year we are doing in revenues. We have some, probably free users. We have about
astronauts
500,000 of
Bob
them, some
Benkin
10,
and Doug
20,000
Hurley
paid users.
walking through
Like, at
those
this scale,
same
how are you running with 4
historic doors,
engineers?
getting ready
I think,
to
I
transport
just
to the pad.
asked him the
Bob
counter
Benkin on
question
the
is
right,
like,
Doug Hurley
okay,
on the left.
he was doing probably in
Doug
revenues a
is
little less. And like,
the
okay, fine,
overall
let's,
spacecraft commander.
regardless of that, but
Bob
your
is the
systems look very
commander
similar
of
to
the
me.
crew
There's some
activities,
video being
particularly
played, there's some
rendezvous
notes
and
people are
docking.
writing,
You notice
some
that in the
questions being
space
solved,
game,
MCQs and all. It's
everybody
an
gets
educational
the
system
word,
very
the
similar.
name commander in their title. Nobody
You do
wants to
have
be
like
seen
30
as
people in the
the,
team. Like, why do you have that? I mean, that's also a
back in the
question,
days of the
because
Gemini program,
I did not form
they
a
were
team thinking it
called
will be
not
4
pilot
people. I
and
never needed more
co-pilot,
than that.
but the command
And he was
pilot
saying
and the pilot for the same reason. These are the
had this
astronauts, of
idea,
course, saying
then we raised
goodbye
some
to
funding,
friends
then we
and
thought, okay, to
family.
build this, we will
You
need 30
note
people. So I think the
in this time of quarantine
thinking comes from, okay, to
especially,
build
there's no
these 10 things, we will need 30
physical
people.
contact.
That's the reason he
This
had
has
30
been
people
going
rather
on since
than
long before the COVID era.
probably starting to
There have
build it
been
and
crew
see where it
quarantines
goes.
as far
Maybe
as
that does
long
play
ago
a
as the
bit of
Gemini program.
I think, because there are
climbing into
enough
this,
examples of
Tesla Boeing,
things built
will
at
be,
very big scale, both in terms of
attached
features
to
that are there,
the seats through the
users that
same
are there,
life support
and he had a team of
system
maybe
that
10
attaches
people,
them
20
to the
people. I mean,
seats
WhatsApp
in
was
the
very
spacecraft.
famous for
This
that when they got
allows
acquired. They had
oxygen,
something 19 people or so, and people thought
other
that 1
life-sustaining
billion people
systems,
are working on that
to
app.
begin
How is it
running
possible?
through the suits.
But I really
Each of
like that
these
piece of the
suits has a
answer, which is like you have to
freestanding
sit
spacesuit.
down with
They are now
the
getting
tech,
primed,
non-tech, rather than
for,
talking about it in those
the
terms.
suits
Like
to be able
have
to
somebody with
sustain them
domain
once those
expertise and
helmets are closed.
understand what they
Basically, once
want,
those
solve that
helmets are
problem
closed,
together.
the crew will have
And
breathed
it still is like
fresh
that.
air
You're
for
saying.
the last time
Absolutely,
until
nothing
they
has
return to
absolutely
Earth.
nothing has changed.
It will
We still
be
debate
canned
ideas.
air,
Sometimes debates go on
their
for
way
days,
up,
and ideas are always shot down.
on their
Anybody's
time
free
aboard
to
the
propose an
station
idea.
and
So
on their
you have
way
to,
out.
if you
They now
feel
begin
that
a
any idea that you raise will be
9-mile
immediately shot
ride
down
out
by the
to the launch
management,
pad,
I don't think you'll be
one
at
more
your
goodbye
creative best
to family
in
and
such an
friends.
environment. So it's
And
ingrained in the culture that
off they
anybody
go
can
for that
propose
ride to
anything, anybody
the
can
pad,
question anything,
which
and the
is,
outcomes have to be
close to the
objective.
last
You know,
time
we
we'll see
we
them
could have a
live
really tight
until
decision,
they
but you
return
write
to
down bullet
Earth
points on the
anywhere from a month
left side and
to
right side,
3 months.
and whatever weighs slightly more, that's the objective decision, and that has, in hindsight, worked really well for us. And to go back to the anecdote you just shared, I really don't know how that works. I don't know how it's possible to reduce humans who are especially creative, let's say software developers or product folks, how you can reduce them to units and say that this particular piece of software requires 6 human units or 30 human units. I really don't understand how that works, and I've never seen that example play out really well. That approach, play out really well anywhere. So and I think there's this huge component of FOMO there. Let's say you have a product that is becoming bigger, growing, and you receive funding, and you have 3 engineers. I mean, people will ask questions. How can you build, what are we planning to build with 3 engineers? So you start doubting yourself, and I've seen this quite a bit. Even in really young startups,
the ride to the
just
launch pad
maybe a year or
has
two
taken
old,
place.
you look at the peers
in,
and suddenly that other organization has 50
sort
people.
of RV
So we have to hire. We need product managers. We need more developers. We need more dedicated designers. So a lot of external factors influence decision making and how to build tech teams, and you end up with massive teams where everyone's a little lost.
There's a bit of manufactured complexity also in your systems, because Conway's law getting into effect there as well.
Absolutely. Because if you have, let's say, 50 people, they have to do something, right? So you automatically, implicitly, and subconsciously start creating, complicating your architecture, complicating your design to give everyone enough work. So it's a vicious cycle, and it just keeps on getting worse. The more complex it becomes, the more people you need. And beyond a certain number of people, you have to now have other people who manage communication and results and all, and suddenly you get really rigid hierarchies. And you keep on growing. So once you grow, you have to keep on growing. So, and as I said, I've never seen a successful example of someone saying this particular piece of software needs X human units and it working out exactly like that. You can't, it's like you said, it's possible for 20 people to build a WhatsApp that can handle billions of users. It's possible for 2,000 people to build terrible, let's say, net banking applications that don't work.
Right,
so,
right.
yeah.
On that piece, because you talked about that tech and business thing, and then Jacob was here on one of the episodes of Scale Up Pod, and he was talking about an anecdote where the VCs had an interview with the CEO and the CTO. And then they were like very impressed that, how did both of you have the same answers as to what you want to do in the next 5 years? And then and Jacob say this part, which I had it in the teaser of that episode as well, like I absolutely, completely, totally hate the word, the business. I mean, the tech is the business. You're building the same thing. Tech correct. And business are not separate things. Yeah. But that's it. This divide, whether it's in minds of people or it's actually there, it does exist in a lot of places, right? And then our audience being like the engineers and the tech people. So my question is, like as an engineer, and you're growing, you started building things, hacking around, maybe you have joined a company, you're working on things. How do you also sort of gather more perspective about the business? How do you not think of, okay, this is what I was told to build, I don't know how it will be used, and that kind of sometimes mindset can percolate if you are in an environment where you have a tech versus business thing. Yeah. But I think part of the onus is also with the engineers too.
The distance, the mileage
and everybody has to come to
is
the
a
middle.
function of
so
the fact
at a more philosophical
what
level, when
the
somebody is growing as an
astronauts will be,
engineer, how do you go
flying
about
aboard
making
today
sure that you go at least to the center of the bridge for the tech versus business divide?
76,000
So
gallons of
I think it's
highly
difficult.
explosive
Honestly, for
fuel
young engineers, folks who are just starting out, it's very difficult because their worldview hasn't formed. They don't know that they have an opinion. And in many organizations, engineers unfortunately have no voice or opinion. And even in tech companies.
About 3.5
so
miles
I think
from
the
launch pad
burden,
itself,
the weight really
somewhat
lies with the
circuitous route
management.
that the crew has to
Culture in an
travel,
organization,
roadways
it has to
get
come
them out to
from
the
top
pad,
down. And
is
no matter
about
how hard
9
engineers try,
miles,
engineers
which is why
cannot really
you
create an
see this
engineering
long
culture if
motorcade.
the management isn't
during the days
up for it, if they are not
of
in
the Apollo
on
program,
it. So if to cross a bridge, there has to be a bridge, and it's very difficult in an organization that doesn't really have the right culture of collaboration between tech and non-tech folks. It's very difficult to build that bridge. You have entire managerial frameworks. This whole requirements thing where requirements come in, you're supposed to build it. Financial, let's say in a financial company, financial decisions are made by someone sitting somewhere. There's no rationale. You get a thing saying, oh, add this button, add this report. Yeah, and you're supposed to just do it. And you're supposed to report it to your manager. Now, if there's no culture that has been established by the management themselves, it's impossible for engineers to even attempt to cross the bridge because that bridge has to be built and sustained by the management. If the management is open, people who are willing to contribute will naturally immediately figure out that, oh, it is possible to have a dialogue. Right. And it's just that. And in many organizations, unfortunately, where there's this tech versus non-tech divide, there's no dialogue. You get requirements you build. You don't even know why you're building. It could be wrong. It could weigh negatively on the software architecture. But why would a non-tech management care about software architecture?
Right.
So it has to be top down. It has to be the culture has to be established by the management.
3 songs on their playlist.
Here, and I'll play a bit of a devil's advocate here. And it's probably the question is not coming from a perspective that is personal. But say speaking on behalf of let's say a non-tech and business-oriented founder, let's say. And then we talked about it when we met at Foss India. Why should we invest in an engineering first culture? Let's just say somebody says that, okay, I have a bunch of requirements. If the tech team just builds it, I will go ahead and keep building my team ahead. And I don't need an engineering culture to exist in my team.
We didn't have tunes in the Astro van.
No?
Fortunately, unfortunately, wherever you put it, but I have seen this sort of dialogue also from people.
The custom stereo system that's in the Tesla?
And I think that the result of that is like a lot of times people very passionate and very highly motivated
And again,
engineers
just
get into a
for some
company
perspective,
which, like from the outside, looks like doing
they
great
left
business, but they're like,
operations and
we just
checkout
left a
building
year
just
later
a
because we
minute
did
ago,
not
and so
feel
it's
like
about a
having a good
9-mile
engineering culture.
drive from there to the launch pad.
So, I mean,
It takes
before
them
coming to, I think,
around
the
20 minutes,
engineering
kinda depends
culture
on
and hacker and open
how
space, I'll talk
quickly
about
they're
that as well.
trucking.
But what's the,
The other
need
thing,
even for building an
sometimes that
engineering
you hear
culture,
as you're-
you would
you're
say?
in the convoy.
I think you touched
is the
upon it
helicopter, the Huey helicopter flying
a
overhead,
little while
and
ago,
it's-
where
it's kind of
this
also,
whole tech
you're
versus
thinking
non-tech
military,
thing.
you're
I think that
thinking
line is now
really
blurring.
important things,
So,
and,
if
it's
you remember, there
it's a
used to be
moment that also kind of
tech-enabled
solidifies in you that,
businesses.
hey,
That used to be a
something big is
thing.
about to happen.
But today, everyone is kind of a tech business.
Move
Even companies
the
that run on
sound of
Excel
that Huey
sheets,
is
are
in
kind
your
of
head.
digital tech businesses.
good that all those
And we have
people are
this entire
talking to each other.
category of terms like
Yeah, I
food
think we
tech,
heard that
travel
actually
tech,
coming by
fintech,
this building earlier. 'cause
whatever.
we were
These
talking
were
about it. I
all
was like, I hope that's what I think it
tech-enabled
is.
businesses
And it
where
was pretty
business was
low, but it
finance.
was
Like
pretty
Zerodha,
low.
for
You could
example.
feel it,
You know,
yeah.
Zerodha's
You
primary
could.
business is
I
financial
took this
services.
drive yesterday
So
in my
maybe
rental
8-9
car,
years ago,
and
Zerodha would be
granted,
looked
it wasn't
upon
a
as
Model X,
as an
and I'm not
organization
an
that
astronaut, but
offers some
driving for
technology
39A,
as a
that
means,
same
merely as a means
trying to
to
put myself,
provide
like,
financial
imagine
services.
myself
But
in
today
that
it's completely
headspace.
changed.
It
People
was,
see Zerodha as a
pretty
technology
awesome to
provider,
figure
not
out
just
how
a
to get off
financial
Falcon 9.
services provider. So
Lauren,
Zerodha has turned
we're
into an
all
engineering
astronauts. We're in
tech
space.
company. And
That is true.
so it's a way of looking at
just gotta
that.
get on the
If
rocket.
you consider that your
Yeah, well,
business
Leland, there's a
just
big
needs
group of
tech
people
as
that
one
want
of the
you-
small
that want you
little
there.
pieces
I think we
to
should,
run the
listen
business
to them.
of many other pieces, then it's very difficult to have
I'm
an
all for it.
engineering
Maybe
culture.
we should make that a
There
poll
are,
question.
if an organization,
Well,
if a
we can
certain
all maybe
business
go to space.
relies heavily
I
on
am
technology,
on
and even if
board.
it's, let's say,
I mean, not
financial
literally
services or
right
food
now,
services
but I
or
would like to be
agriculture
on
or whatever,
Lauren, would you go with us?
but if engineering and technology are a core proposition of the business, and that requires self-awareness. You can always compartmentalize
We have
saying,
so many
oh, there's this
people,
tech team, they'll build whatever
watching
we want,
online,
but our
sending
business
well
is
wishes
finance.
to Bob
My
and
IT
Doug.
team.
I mean,
Exactly, my
early-
IT team.
Early this
So,
week as
but we
were
are
ramping up
financial
for
folks. We
Wednesday,
only do
and I feel
finance,
like
and
it's just
tech
been
is just a
this
means.
build
So, if
up
you
of
look at the
momentum because,
business
we were
from that
following along
perspective,
Wednesday, and
sorry,
now
as I
we're all
mentioned, it's
following
very
along
difficult to establish an
Saturday,
engineering
and
culture because it's
we
just
have
one
people
of
watching
the
from home that
necessary
hopefully don't have
evils.
to work today, and
But
can
as I
really
said, the
key
lines
into
have
what's going
blurred.
on here.
Zerodha has become a technology company
as
from a
astronauts,
pure
truly
financial
appreciate all
company.
the
So
support,
Zerodha offers
all the
technology
social
plus
media
financial
feeds,
services now.
And we think about,
And
our
that is that
families.
has
We
that
saw
transformation has played a
Megan
key
and,
role in
and
Zerodha
Karen there
and maybe
with their sons,
reinventing or
wishing
re-establishing
Doug
itself
and
as
Bob
a
well wishes.
different kind of a player over the last, let's say half decade. Now, if that wasn't the case, maybe Zerodha would be an entirely different kind of company which offered some financial services, but there wasn't scale or growth or whatever in today's terms. So, what is the necessity here? If a certain business, if technology and engineering is core to a certain business, and realizing that it is, or whether it is not, it's really the first big leap.
Makes sense.
So, if it is core, you need to have that becomes the core proposition of your business going forward, that defines your future, and it becomes imperative to have good technology. And what exactly is a good technology? With who are happy doing what they're doing. And I mean content, not super happy doing, but people who don't hate what they're doing. And again, technology as it grows, as complexity grows, you can't just get few developers get to fix certain things, build new things, chuck them out, get to people. It's an ongoing, like a very long-term endeavor, right? The developers who build software, the software enters their mind space and it lives in their heads. And any knob that you need the correct way to quickly fix a certain thing or scrap a certain thing, it's all in their heads.
Imagine spaceship kind of thing you have in your head. The live part, some sort of a diagram in your head. Sometimes not even easy to visualize, but
absolutely. So it's not like a commodity where, let's say, you have a mixer grinder that breaks down. You can take it to any mechanic, and because it's a commodity, it's so simple, it's trivial. They cannot complex software needs to be built for deep understanding of its nuances, now, all of that, those things lives in the minds of engineers and developers. And their minds are not happy, and they're turning,
This your time. I'm born to win. I'm born to win. I'm born to win. Then the countdown starts, 3, 2, 1, go.
nobody can rewrite legacy software overnight, and all the people who like to different bits, they don't. So from a maybe a transactional perspective, not a form of this perspective, but from a purely transactional perspective, the business is going to rely on tech. Tech and engineering both, and if they don't cultivate an engineering culture, it's going to be disastrous for us. We just have to look around us. Massive organizations with unlimited legacy organizations, and the finance industry has so many great examples. It's all because of that. They refuse to accept that technology was poor.
I could Neo Nitro with dual chip power.
Why would creative people who like creative endeavors want to work in an environment that's so creative? It's just a means to delivering. So, absolutely imperative for businesses do this if they really want to survive.
And then thinking about other questions about what kind of opinion is a good influencer, for example, to ask walk into a tech team, what do you expect to see which would make you say that, okay, this team has great engineering culture? And I say that from perspective of, let's say, somebody wants to join. How do you decide great engineering culture?
That's also a tricky one. Culture is very subjective. What culture works for, let's say, a zero-sum not works for. So it's highly subjective. And that really is the very definition of culture. An amalgamation of things that change, that are accumulated, things which are appropriate for a certain environment. So, as I said, our culture is really built around understanding and accepting the risk in the business. In a non-risky environment, the culture would be completely different. But there are certain principles that are common. Firstly, you have to be irrespective of people have to be able to make fun of each other without reservations. Nothing is sacrosanct. We have in our team, we have memes about everyone. There are new memes that are made every day. I think there are like 6 or 7 different smileys. So there's all of that, and that's just a tiny part of the overall facet, which is what we have to do. One thing. Secondly, what I would definitely give weightage to is how people so that is also a part of culture. That thinking that you need to build a certain way. Let's go forward. Let's pick this cloud. That's very top-down thinking. So it has to be the first principle. This we draw the things. It has to always start from the absolute bottom.
I go Neo Nitro with dual chip power.
Decisions that are going to be with them for the next decade, that will define their very survival. That comes from first principles thinking. And teams that get together and collaborate on first principles tend to gel well with each other because, there's no reservations. You're free to shoot down things objectively saying, oh, no, that's not a good idea because, A, B, C, D is wrong. That's only possible when the thinking is from first principle, when it's bottoms up. So it's really that. The people should be able to gel well with each other, and technical, business, and engineering decisions within that team should be objective and should be from first principles. I think these are kind of 2 hallmarks of good engineering culture. And of course, lots of things change. It's subjective, but these are, largely universal, I think.
Makes sense. I think I definitely relate to that point about breaking down the barriers and the memes and all, because I have at one point of time worked in a much larger company with a hierarchical setup, and there were people in my team much older than me. So to even write a code review and saying that something objectively, it's the review on the code, not on the person, right? I still have to CC the manager because, okay, that person might get offended. And then obviously it's not it's not a great environment to be able to discuss the technical merits of something if those barriers exist in the first place. For sure. About the other part as well, right? First principles thinking. Now, and I will actually, of course, like you said, serverless. There are very concrete examples of using, say, NoSQL DBs, and I think very interesting blog article that you had written about how you have been scaling Postgres at there, right?
A very good afternoon.
And again, I see because teaching, so I see a lot of people, youngsters,
what a lovely afternoon.
Maybe a little bit disadvantage being MongoDB is a company.
Thank you very much
right.
to each
not
and
so shade
every
on
one
them.
of
I mean,
you.
there's definitely good use cases of
Fantastic
that.
bunch of media.
But of course,
our
if it gets
dedicated
marketed
ICO
a lot
community
versus
members
something like,
and
using,
fans
MySQL
for joining us here today at a venue
project.
that stands
so ultimately
for
people
power,
develop a habit of
high
building
performance,
projects, and of
and
course, if
winning.
a particular tool has
The three
way too
things
many libraries
that are
available, easy to quickly
definite
use,
and
people
our
can
most
sort of get
favorite
into it.
series. The
And
ICO
maybe
Neo
that's also a
series
great way to start.
stands
It's fine.
for.
But as you
For
grow
all
as
of
an
you
engineer, how do
who
you
couldn't join us here
sort of
today live,
keep yourself
but
grounded
are
to
watching
the
us
first
live,
principles?
you
If
have a
could
chance
word
to
of
win
advice around that.
one of three
I think it's about
powerful
self-awareness
ICO
and awareness
Neo
in general.
9 Pro
So
smartphones.
somebody who starts
All you need
out
to
young,
do
and let's say
is
their
look out for
foundation
questions
are
under your screen
no SQL DBs.
and
like
give
you said,
your
nothing wrong with them. They
responses
have the use
using the
cases.
hashtags
and they've
the
never been able
instructions
to
given.
work with relational databases.
And you stand a
How
chance
do you
to
even
win
know what you
the
don't
all-new
know? Now that's a big
ICO
trap.
Neo
How do you know
9
that you may be wrong?
Today,
So
ladies and gentlemen,
it's very difficult,
marks a
and if you
huge
fall into the
milestone
trap of
for
it's always
us.
buying into hype, you wouldn't
Staying
even know
true
that
to our commitment
you're wrong.
of making esports
So it's
big.
It's very
in
important
India.
to have hands-on
We are here at this
experience on a wide
power-packed
variety of
venue.
engineering
We are here
topics and
to
aspects.
flag
There's
off
literally no
our
other way.
first
If you've never built a
professional esports
a relational
LAN tournament,
a system that uses
the
relational
ICO
database,
India
you don't even know.
League.
You can't even make that decision. So it's very important to work on as many hands-on projects as possible.
It fills
But
my
how
heart
do you know that you have to work
with
on?
pride,
Maybe somebody has
joy,
to tell.
and
Maybe
excitement,
somebody has to
to say
mentor
the
or
least.
guide. But
Seeing
that starting
the
point,
dream
just that,
we had
just
set
growing
forth
that
to achieve
awareness, that's it.
coming
Once you have
true.
that awareness, then
So
there's like a billion resources on the internet.
And
You can
what
learn whatever you
is
want. you
even
can
more
build whatever you want.
exciting
But it's
and
just that
humbling
starting point. People have to
is the
know that
overwhelming
what we
response
know
we received
may not
for
there
the ICO
there are
India
huge number of things outside of what
All
we know,
tickets
what are narrow
sold
focus.
out
Just that
to
realization and
capacity
self-awareness
in just 2
that's what's
hours.
most critical. Right. And that's the starting point. So yeah, I don't really have
Thank
any
you so much,
solutions
guys.
on how someone can
All
gain
this
that, but like I said,
would
maybe,
not have been
maybe it's
possible
accidental
without you.
Maybe it's just
Your
some
love
people feel that, or
keeps
maybe they need
us
some handhold.
questing.
Got it.
Questing,
Around that, I think,
which is at
and
the
then,
core
we talked
for
about like
all of us
what are the
at
things we would want to talk about here,
It
and
comes
we said about like,
from our
building
brand's
projects
philosophy
versus,
of
products kind of thing.
iQuest,
And I really,
on and on.
what
It's that powerful
youngsters say,
spirit
vibed with that
makes us
because
dream big
when I teach some
our
classes
limits.
and after teachings, let's say
iQuest
concepts of
Quest
okay, how to build an API,
began
how to build a
as a
ORM
sub-brand
and
of
all of that.
Vivo.
Okay, now go ahead and
And
build
we
a
owe
project.
a huge
And
part
one of the
of our
largest
success
feedbacks, I think probably
to
70%
Vivo's
of people come
support
back and say
through
I
innovative
spent a couple of
R&D,
days, could not come up with an
high
idea
quality manufacturing
to build something,
and a reliable
and it
network
sometimes
of
feels very
670
disappointing.
plus
Like, hey, you
service
don't really
centers
have to come with an
across
idea that's
the
unique enough
country.
or not. Like, how about just build
These
a blogging app
are
or
some
something
of
like
the
that. Build a
reasons
calculator maybe.
ICO consumers
just go ahead
get
and build
such
right.
a delightful
I mean,
experience.
you have also obviously seen a lot of engineers
Talking about
grow
delight,
via this,
what delights us at
tinkering
ICO
culture, and
the most
you yourself call
is a
yourself
fun group
tinkerist. So
that loves
how much
technology,
this is important, and
innovation,
why is it important for people to
and
develop this?
esports.
You would say.
As
I
much
think it's
as we
paramount.
do.
It's probably one of the most
And I'm so
critical
happy
things required
that we
to be
have a
good
section
engineer
of
and to
them
be able to learn.
with us
what we were
here
just discussing
today.
prior. If you don't know
Ladies
what
and
you don't
gentlemen,
know, how do you
give
even,
it up for the
get started?
ICO community.
And building things hands-on, breaking things, getting experience, realizing that, oh, I can do this or I can't do this.
You all have been a rock solid
it's the single
pillar
biggest step.
for us.
Unless you write
With your
software
unwavering
hands-on,
support,
you can't learn. You
your
can
thought
read
provoking
resources, watch podcasts
ideas,
and videos
and
forever,
your
for years.
extensive
You'll never be able to produce
demands.
decent software. But if
Thank
you start
you,
writing
Questers,
software and produce
for
bad
being
software
the
and improve
coolest
it,
squad
and
we
the
could
very
have asked
act of
for.
writing software and producing bad software,
What
you're
is the other
automatically
thing
improving.
that
You know,
comes
that
to your
tiny
mind when I say the
badness,
word
you'll
squad?
fix it and you would have learned something. So nothing, absolutely nothing
prizes
beats that.
for
And
guessing.
all engineers in
Yes,
the world who
it
are
is
good,
gaming.
they're all self-taught.
Mobile
So-
gaming today
So
is not just
it's
an
basically
activity of
that,
leisure,
the act of
but
writing
a cultural
software
phenomenon.
hands-on
And we at ICU
is the
are
single biggest
committed
requirement to being
to make esports
to being a good
and the
engineer.
future of
Right, right,
esports
Yeah.
big.
I would like to
in
take an
India.
example there. I mean, and I just
Exactly why,
recently checked out when you were
besides professional tournaments,
and
we
I
are
was
engaging
having a
and
discussion with
co-creating
my friend
with
Saman, and
the gaming community
he's
to
a
promote
engineer at
budding
a big tech
talents
company, and he was like,
through our
I just loved it because they
initiative
opened the
of
GitHub
finding
repository, and I look at the code and I
India's
see,
first
okay,
chief
no 20
gaming
different
officer.
classes or something. It's just, whatever we need to get it done.
And I'm
The
extremely
code inside each
happy
function looks
to
very
introduce
clear
to
and
you
concise, but everything is in
Chief
one
Gaming
single file. That's
Officer
fine.
and
I'd like to,
our zonal
probably like
Chief
go
Gaming
a
Officers.
little deeper into like how did that idea come to your mind? Like why playing around with the DNS protocol to like give answers like time zones and everything?
They were selected.
So that the answer
through
to
a
that
very
also
rigorous
answers your
hunt
previous question. Like you said,
across the
sometimes
country.
students come up and say, I
And
don't know what
finally
to build.
faced
That's actually
a
a very
very
legitimate
tough
problem.
jury.
It's like a writer's block. You can't come
All
up with
these
unique
6
ideas
months,
every day. And sometimes
they
you
have
look
worked
for
with us
many years
meticulously
to,
and
you
helped
really have the drive
craft
to build something,
and
but you don't know
support
what to
our
build.
gaming
And you
strategy
can't bring yourself
with
to
their
building, let's say,
valuable
trivial
inputs.
things. You want something new or unique. But
A
if you
big
look
shout
at
out to
most
all
hobby projects
3
out
of
there,
them.
most FOSS, they're all largely born out of real world problems that people faced.
And in
or
our
frustration.
endeavor to
Most of
cultivate
my
gaming talent
open
in
source
college
projects that I've
campuses,
published,
we
I've
recently
stumbled
held
upon them not because I was
our
looking for
first
certain ideas. I had a
IQ
certain problem. I
campus
encountered a problem. I built software to solve
Here
that problem. Then
is a
I
short
realized, oh,
video
this can be extended
for all
and
of
given
you.
out to others. You pick any large or small open source software out there, it largely the genesis would have been basically that, people facing a certain problem and then trying to solve that. So yes, to experiment. I'm sorry, I'm still trying
competition of the
answering
year,
your previous
IQ
question.
All Stars Cup.
Favorite player आपका? The urge to tinker has to be
टूर्नामेंट का
there.
massive
If
prize
you go
pool है
looking for
5
ideas,
लाख रुपए.
you're probably setting yourself up.
Are you
When you come across a problem, you have to jump on it and write some
प्लेयर लग रहे हो यार आप तो.
तुम्हारा
भाई कोई जॉनी
से कम है क्या? DNS
किसी को
toys
डराया
is
तो नहीं है कि हमारे
a
सामने
great
बताना.
example.
अभी तक तो नहीं डरा है, गेम में डरा देंगे.
We will see you in the match. I had no vision to write any
We
DNS
should start the match now.
But I find myself entering random queries into Google every day, Google conversions or whatever. And over a period of time, I've seen that from simple, expression matching, 10 GB to 5 MB. It's a simple, string passing thing. I don't know, Google's overly sophisticated technology and maybe machine learning and all this. It's very sometimes difficult to get answers to those straightforward questions also.
Winner.
Get absurd answers, It just goes with a query and then, those doesn't show up. Specifically with unit conversion or, simple one-line queries to which you really quickly need answers. And, I'd been getting annoyed and I'd been getting frustrated. And that typically
Now
is
coming
inspiration to,
to the hero
tinker
of
and
the
write
day.
something on your own.
The IQ
So for unit
Neo
conversions,
9
I could just write a simple
The Neo
bash
series
script for
requires
myself.
no
But,
introduction.
that wouldn't be as
But
much
let
fun.
me still tell you,
So
it is the
then I
most
figured maybe,
loved
it could be
and
a
awaited
service online
of all our
where
products
I can just
in
quickly
the
get an answer
entire
to some of these
IQ
common queries that I raise every day
Neo is
on the
made
terminal.
to
Now that
offer
could be an
flagship level
HTTP service.
performance
You could
to
query it
power
with curl.
you
But
to win.
curl,
Win
it
at
just
work
didn't,
and win at
just seemed a little inadequate. And then I randomly
The
had
Neo 7 Pro we
had this
launched
thought. I don't know
last
what
year
had primed
had
me to
rave
DNS.
reviews
I mean, dig is
and was
everywhere.
loved
DNS
by
is a
all
protocol. It's a super,
unanimously.
super simple protocol. It's
These
universal. It's
are just a
ancient.
few
It's
of the
raw. It's so
accolades
beautiful.
it won
Right?
Yeah.
You
for
send a
being
query, you get an
best
answer.
smartphone
UDP. And it's
in
just so
its
good.
segment.
Yeah.
Then I thought, why
But
can't
as
I
innovators,
abuse that?
we know
It's rawer.
we
It's
cannot be
more first
resting
principles
on
than, let's say,
our
curl.
past
HTTP is a,
laurels.
a more complex protocol
It was
compared
a
to
formidable
DNS.
task
So I thought, someone
to
would have
take
done it. Someone
the
would have abused DNS.
exceptional
Of course, people
Neo
abuse
7
DNS for
Pro,
everything.
a league
But then I saw that nobody had abused DNS to get
took this challenge
queries to
head
answers.
on.
And it makes perfect
And I
sense. You
must
send a
say,
DNS query. The
the
whole
Neo 9
system
Pro
is around the
is
concepts
not
of
just
sending a
a league
question
above,
and getting answers.
but a new
Like, why not,
benchmark
add this unit conversion
in
thing to
smartphone
that?
performance
Then I was like, oh,
in
I also,
this
tend to check weather every day.
to take
Bangalore
you through the
temperature, Bangalore
details
weather.
of
we
how
all
the
of us
performance of the
Google that.
IQ Neo 9 Pro
And
stands
why not
out.
add a weather service?
Let me
Then I
invite
thought,
on
oh, there are
stage
these other things.
Shankar,
Sometimes, you get a
our
really big number.
product head.
Let's say 10 or 11 7-digit number, and I find it hard to mentally pass. I have to count decimals.
Yeah.
So I Google numbers to English words or whatever, land on some random website, paste that, So that's also a query that I frequently
Thank
need
you,
answer.
Nipun.
So why not add that?
Wow.
So I added a bunch of things, and suddenly I
It's
had
almost like a
DNS
dream
server
come
that
true
could answer
to
some
talk
of these
about
queries, and it was
one of my favorite
universal.
products
Like, you know, it just
of Neo series.
that
And
its
this dream
purity, the protocol's purity
And thanks
was
to
very
all
attractive.
of you for joining us
So I
here
made
today.
it, you know,
And to make
then
it
of course,
even
if
more
you're typing
grand.
it every day, it has to have a really short domain name.
Nipun has
If I
already
have
set up the
DNS
context
answers and
about how
questions
wonderful
dot
the
com,
icon
that
Neo
defies the
9 Pro
point.
is.
So I
So
looked
let's
for a
straight jump
domain and
in
found
to talk
DNS
more
dot
about it.
toys. So I can just say Bangalore.weather, dig Bangalore.
But we have one line intro for the Neo 9
and I get the
Pro.
answer.
Yeah.
And that
This
really
is
satisfied
the next
you know,
generation
that
performance
urge. It
flagship among the
scratched my
mid-rangers.
itch.
Yeah.
Of course,
But before I
turned
talk
it into a
about the
website,
nitty-gritty
published the
and details of
repository,
Icon
and,
Neo
it
9
became an
Pro,
open source
I
project.
want to address
But
one very
that's
important
really
thing. Is the
the genesis
responses
of many
that we have
hobby
received
projects. That itch,
during our
that one
iQOO
problem that
launch.
you want solved, it
Be it
bugs
design,
you, annoys you, that itch you
performance,
want scratch.
camera,
and just
and
because
whatnot.
you know you're an engineer,
From all the tech fraternity
when you can do DNS,
and our
why do
consumers.
HTTP?
Yeah.
Thank you
So
once
all
again
of
for
those
your
things
love
put together,
and support.
hobby project is born.
Right.
But you know,
Actually,
while
that
designing
reminds
the
me of
Icon Neo
something very
9
similar I had
Pro,
done
we were
in-
clear on one thing.
Story feels so familiar.
Build a
because,
leader in
so I,
performance
it
and
was,
gaming.
You know,
And
just
then enhance
before the pandemic
design
time, I was
and
doing a
image.
few consulting with some people who were outside
High
India,
performance.
different places.
I don't even have to explain
And,
why,
you know,
right?
We'll meet at 1
It's
p.m.
us.
Okay, who's 1 p.m.? You're 1
It's our
p.m.
DNA.
My 1 p.m.
And
all
the
of that
whole
stuff.
reasons of our existence.
Then I used to, you know,
Gaming.
start figuring out that
You
also,
all love it.
the
we
calendar
know
software everybody
we
uses
love
does not
what you all
necessarily
love.
always match. Like Google is still
And there's one
90%,
more
but
thing
somebody
that
using
nowadays
Outlook.
people
Say, make
love
an event in Outlook, send it
to
to
have
Google sometimes
is the great
because
design.
of DST and everything.
That's
something
exactly the reason why we have spent
I
a
had
lot of time building and bettering it.
I was there, I was just mentoring some people, and then
So take a look.
at night there was nothing to do, and that time I was learning and we just figured that hey, using the logging, hashtag and everything. So I found this domain name available, sharetime.in. Send me the sharetime.in /ist/1700 if you write. And you can share this URL to anybody. If they open it in their own time zone, it just picks the time zone on the computer and says IST 5 p.m. is 10 a.m.
Very
at your
comfortable
time zone.
too.
Nice.
So it's like
how
the
do we
URL is
go
very
about
easy to
designing
share
this?
because share time in.
You know,
tell
when
the
we
time
launched
zone.
Icon Neo 7 Pro,
But I
we
think
had
the
our
beauty
first
is
orange
that
leather
it was ridiculously
in Neo.
simple what I thought
And
that
since
I
then,
want.
it's
But to
everywhere.
implement it, I figured that when I was
But
using
this
some
time,
time-passing library,
we have gone one
so I
step
figured that
further.
these three-letter
Give
time
you
zones that we use,
more
like
stylish
IST and all,
and
that's
striking
not the IIT
dual
standard.
tone
The IIT standard
leather
is something
design.
like Asia/Kolkata, like that.
That comes with two
and the
amazing
rabbit hole
colours.
kept digging. Like I figured
Red
out, okay, KST
and
is
the
three things:
off-white.
Kaliningrad Standard Time, Korea Standard
Where
Time.
red
So I figured that sometimes three
symbolizes
letters
the
need
passion
disambiguation.
and ambition
So then
we
I have to
have.
add a disambiguation layer.
Whereas
in the
the
middle.
off-white
Okay, I built
represents
that.
the purity
Then I
and
figured
calmness that we
that
need.
Chrome has a bug that
It's a
they
lethal
have not
combination.
updated Asia/Calcutta to Asia/Kolkata.
The stunner design, I would say.
When
We call
write
it
a bug on
fiery red.
Chrome's bug tracker, and I found out that there is a thread going on for the last 5 years.
Well,
and
this is
somebody's
the
like,
one.
hey, IIT
There's
has
one more
updated it.
stunner
When will
design
you
that
guys
we
do it?
have.
And like Firefox has done it, Safari has done it, but
The
Chrome has
champion
not.
of all colors,
And
we say.
then I found out some
Conqueror Black. As the name
message
suggests,
from some
something that we all
cryptocurrency
want to be
exchange.
in our
Somebody wrote
lives.
that our trades
We
are failing
work
because
or play.
Asia/Calcutta
We want
and
to be
Asia
up
Kolkata
there
and the browsers
and
have.
conquer
So I figured, yeah, it was
everything that
very
comes
simple.
our
Like I
way.
just thought that I will build it in 5 hours or something.
Now
and
coming back
from
to the
there,
design itself.
got to learn so many things.
You know,
as a result
not only
of
the
that.
color,
So I think,
that's
even for
premium.
example, something like DNS.toys, if somebody
and
wants
the
to just
backside,
clone
we
it and
have
run it on their
designed
own,
in
they will
such a
learn so
way
much about how to
that
run a
give
DNS
you
server as well.
the most
in
premium
that process.
experience ever.
So
No, that's a great example of
You know, our
rabbit
recently
holes.
launched flagship,
So you tried to
iQOO
scratch that itch of just
came
doing
up
one
with
date
the
conversion.
1.5
But if you hadn't bothered, you
in,
wouldn't have learned so
mm
many
side
things.
bezels.
But because you bothered to do it
And you know what?
hands-on, you were
The
driven,
Neo 9 Pro
you learned
has
so
the
many
same
things.
side bezels
This is what engineers need to do.
from the
You know,
iQOO
they
color
need to
itself
build things
that
with their
give you
bare
more
hands.
immersive
They have to
look
do
and
even the tiniest of projects. But nothing is really tiny in that sense.
Apart from this,
date
the
parsing is
back
a
of the
really
Neo 9
complex
Pro,
thing.
we
And you
have
went down
the
the
four-sided
rabbit hole.
curved back
Absolutely.
glass.
And it was, I think, like the end of the journey, it was just so fulfilling for me itself.
Which was previously
and then
exclusive
I sent it to a
to a
bunch of
premium
friends. So nowadays, like, when
and now it is
somebody
available
asked me
in Neo
from
9 Pro.
Singapore or Dubai or somebody, like, when to meet, and I just typed
Because
in
of all this,
sharetime.in,
it
IST.
makes the
and
Neo 9 Pro
so,
most
so they read it in that
premium
time zone.
ever.
And then somebody suggested that
While
if I open it
premium
from
is
a time
another
zone, can I
thing,
get a thumbnail
but
preview in WhatsApp
a
itself so
comfortable
that I don't have to
experience
open?
is something
I'm like, oh,
highly
okay.
valued.
I'll build that next.
Especially the new
That's a great idea, right?
Yeah, so you can just
So,
send the URL. The
to
OG
address
technology tags will work, and you don't even actually have to open the URL.
A separate
there.
lab.
So
We call it
piggybacking on all of these different
Human Factors
technologies.
Lab.
and
That's a
learning all of
brilliant hack. You should do it if you
Where we
have
have
it already.
conducted a
That's
real life
the-
experiment.
Whenever the next weekend I
with
get
over
some time, that's
hundreds of
the
people.
next thing on my agenda to do
You
that.
know, gaming is a typical
but yeah,
scenario,
I hope like
an extreme
if people are
scenario
hearing
where
and
people
they,
need to hold their
you know,
phones
whatever the
for longer
itches
period
they
of
have been
time.
having so far, they
That is
do
the
scratch
reason
some of them
the
and,
IQ
bring
lab
some of those projects
has
where
done
we
a
really,
rigorous test with
beneficial.
all those gamers
But I will take a
to
segue
find
from
the
there to
scenario
actually, because
and
you
the
talk about
factors
building these
that
things and
consider
also
to have a
open
comfortable
sourcing them.
experience.
This is the reason why
Let
I
me
have
tell you one
discovered
by
so many
one.
of your
First,
projects because they're open
it
source.
should have a slim
and of
and
course,
super
first of all,
lightweight
thanks to you
in
because
hand.
you share those.
It should have extremely comfortable to hold without
now,
muscle fatigue.
Open source is something, of course,
and should give you
know,
immersive
sort of
experience.
a bit, I would say,
You know how we
abused,
improve
misused
it?
word also
So
in
let's talk
some
about one by
cases,
one.
First, gets used sometimes as
You know, nowadays,
branding,
people don't want
agendas
to
also some
hold
places.
a bulky brick phone
For me,
every
growing
day.
up, open source
However,
was, I
making
figured
a
out how to
high-performing phone
hack,
slimmer
the
is a big task.
kernel of a,
Whereas
basically
this
reload
time
the kernel
around,
of a
we have
Android
managed
phone.
to
So then I
slim
figured out,
down the
okay,
thickness
Linux kernel
to
is
just
GPL, so I can download
7.9
change
mm.
stuff. And I figured out, okay, phones come with
And you know how did we
processors
do
with
this?
speed limited. You can actually bump
Well,
them up and you can overclock
we
a
have
phone as well.
miniaturized
And overclocking
382
desktops or
structural
something.
components
People knew, okay, phones can be
into
overclocked.
this design.
And then stuff like that I did. And then I
Saving
figured ki,
up to
in fact,
8.7%
I opened my
of
first
space.
GitHub repository because of that reason.
We
Because,
call
okay,
it
if it's a
the
GPL
most
code, if you make a
lightweight
modification,
architecture
it was
that
supposed to publish.
Neo
it.
series can
It's
ever
the
have.
spirit of that word is so I
Next
think got
comes with a
very
comfortable feel
invigorated by that.
without
Hey,
muscle
it's a
fatigue
nice spirit that
and
this
the
entire
strain
community has.
over
You make
longer period of
changes,
use.
publish it back.
You know,
And of course,
majority of
since
these
then,
days, phones come with a
contributed to
big
lot of
brick
open source
at the
projects and
back of the
everything.
site for
But
understandable
from also
reasons.
an org perspective, because
But
there
still,
was this
it
FOSS
may
pledge at
impact your
FOSS
holding
United we were
experience.
talking to about orgs as well.
So in our iQOO Neo 9 Pro,
if I talk to
we
individual
have
engineers,
control the
a
proportion
lot
of
of
the
them really
camera
appreciate
module
if their
to just
org actually
7.62%.
supports
Now
open
it
source
won't get in
development or
your
supports
way
their engineers
while
to
you are holding
contribute
your
to open
phone
source.
with
And I feel
one
that for a
hand
lot of engineers,
or
it's a
two.
very big motivating factor. What do you have to say
At the
to
same
orgs
time,
or to
the
engineering
IQ's
leaders as
Human
well? Like,
Factors Lab
why should
have
somebody
discovered a perfect balance between
focus on this?
the last
And
screen
like I said,
and width
sometimes
of
it's very transactional, selfish reasons also exist.
a
probably, but,
6.7-inch screen
how important is it
and
both
the
for
width ranging from
individuals
75
or also
mm
for
to
orgs?
76 mm is a
I
perfect
think
balance
it's very important.
and delivers the
And
peak user experience.
Part of we spoke about
This is
building
experienced by all the
engineering
gamers
culture.
who use
It's
the
a
index
necessity,
finger
right? And I think this
involving
is
the
one of
multi-finger
the
gestures.
facets of building a solid engineering culture.
Therefore,
when I
while
say
retaining the
engineering
6.7
culture, I also
inch screen
mean
size,
hacker culture.
we
So if
overcome many
people
technical
aren't
challenges
in on
to give you
consuming open
the
source
width,
software, and everybody builds
which
everything
is
on
75.7
today.
mm.
And if they're not keen on
This makes
tinkering
it,
and
for most of the
publishing
users,
stuff back,
to see clearly, hold comfortably, and
the engineering
easy
culture
to
kind
use.
of takes a small setback there. So
These
a
are the
solid
big
engineering
enhancements
culture,
that
it's
we
about
have done
collaboration,
in
and you have to
Neo9.
collaborate internally
And with
with
all
tech
this,
teams and
I can
non-tech
proudly
teams,
say
but it's
this
also
is the
about
best
collaborating
Neo
with
design ever.
others outside. And for what, I don't really have,
Now
quantifiable
it's time to
answer.
talk
Like you
about
said,
our
for some
favorite
organizations it could be
performance
transactional, it could be
that we
marketing,
know
it could be a way to attract people.
The Neo 9
to,
Pro boasts of
to hire
most
them,
stable
which is fair. I mean,
and
all
most
of those
reliable
things exist in
processor.
the world, they can all coexist.
The processor, the
But,
same processor
some
that we
organizations
used
do it
in
just
our last
for
year
the
flagship.
heck of it, just
And
for
you
the
know it
spirit.
right. It's
So there's
Snapdragon
no right
8
or
Gen
wrong
2.
here. I mean, I prefer a certain
Snapdragon 8 Gen 2
perspective, but
has
many organizations
a
do for selfish
cluster
reasons. Like I
architecture
said, it's fair.
based on
But
the
it is
TSMC 4
it's
nanometer
important because
technology.
it enables all of these things. It lets
At the same time, the
it
biggest
makes engineers
port
better
is
engineers
Cortex
also, because when
X3,
you write something for yourself,
which helps in
how you
unlocking
write that, how
the
you
clock
think,
speed
how
of
you architect
3.2
software,
gigahertz.
it's very different from when you have to
While the
build
new
something
Adreno
for others.
GPU
When you write software
with
for
staggering
other parties,
225
and open source
FPS
software,
in
millions of
GFX
people could use it,
Manhattan
people
score,
you've never seen,
ultimately
people in
giving giving you the
completely different geographies,
25%
different
GPA
cultures, different
performance
perspectives,
over
different
predecessor.
requirements. They'll take your software and
And
use it
what's
in
more,
ways that you never ever imagined.
When Neo 9 Pro
So
packed
when you
with
write
the
something
industry top-notch RAM
for
type, the
others, for unknown
LPDDR5X,
users, it's a whole different
which reaches the
framework. You're
astonishing
writing it with
theoretical
as many
speed of
holes closed as
8500
possible, as many edge cases addressed as
which is
possible,
Yes.
as clean an
33% higher
architecture as
than
possible.
the
And
previous
that just
snap
makes you a
or
better
previous
engineer
LPDDR5.
anyway. And you'll start applying those principles
No,
in your
when it
internal
comes to
projects also,
performance,
thinking
we
that
always try to
I'm not
go
writing this
all out.
for myself for today, I'm writing
And
it for whoever
with the
it
second
could be
generation
tomorrow.
of Snapdragon
So there
8,
are many
paired
benefits
with
to that.
our software-tuned Neo 9
building a
Pro,
culture,
we were able to
transactional,
achieve
selfish
the score
reasons,
that you won't
just
believe.
being practicing.
The large
being able to
generation of
write
Iconios
better
and
software
Pro,
by
we were
writing it for
hovering around
others. And of course,
1.3
giving, you
million.
consume all this open source, giving back.
But this generation,
and when people
ladies and
derive
gentlemen, the
utility from the
Iconio
software
9
that
Pro,
you publish, it's
having the
immense amount
astonishing score of
goodwill as well
more
that may
than
not translate to
1.7
money,
million.
but
This is a big jump
If you care
that
about
we
it,
have
it's a lot of satisfaction.
Right.
So many of these reasons, like a number of
This
reasons,
is the powerful
why it
Iconio
should
9
be
Pro,
done.
enhanced by a flagship chip
I think
with
I feel
one of a
it's a
kind
little
design.
unfortunate that in India it happens way less. I
Now
feel,
let's talk
because,
about yet another feature,
I
and a
mean,
very important feature,
maybe
without which
Toyota definitely does.
all the
Razor
feature
Pay I have seen.
will be zero.
Flipkart, there was a time.
You know,
I
I'm
used to follow
talking about the
a lot of
battery
great
life,
stuff they used to
the
open
much
source.
concern, and
but
the
it's not
ever-draining
something
battery life.
very prevalent. Versus, I know a lot of my
On the
friends who have
Iconio 9
probably,
Pro,
you know,
we have
moved, out of
upgraded the
India
battery
and
life
US and all. A
to
lot of times they end up
5160
picking up a
mAh
job
capacity.
because they found some
And not
open
just
source,
that, it gives
project
you
which they needed
more
for
battery
some of their own
capacity,
use. They found, oh,
better
this is made
usage
by this
time,
org, and they're like,
all
I would
with
love to work at a
much
place which
slimmer
has made
body
something
compared to
like
the
this.
large generation.
So this is something that I would.
All in all, we
I
have
think
packed the
definitely
massive
should,
5160 mAh
improve
battery
in our,
into this ultra
tech
slim
culture
body,
here in India,
which is
I
7.9 mm
Absolutely,
thick.
it is so
And paired
disproportionate.
with
It's
the
actually
120
shocking.
watt flash
We
charge.
have, I know, dozens, 100, unicorns, massive tech companies, unlimited resources.
Overall,
tech
if I
companies
summarize the
that build,
performance for you,
cutting-edge technology,
it has
most of
the
them are in
flagship
Bangalore.
Snapdragon 8 Gen 2.
But if you look at the number of
It
open
has
source
the
projects that come out of
5160
India,
mAh
it is so
battery,
disproportionately small,
the
it is
LPDDR5X
practically
RAM,
non-existent
and much
compared
more
to this
to give
massive,
you the most powerful
wave of
Neo
digitization
ever.
at every level, at the governmental level, at the industry
Now
level.
let's move on to the
young
part
companies, old
that-
companies, cutting edge
keeps our
startups,
heart
startups that are
beat.
expanding all across the
Gaming.
world. All of these things have come out of India, but
You know, there will
the same
always be a
industry
question
which
about
uses
what is the
open
good
source
gaming
software to
experience.
build all of this, build
And
all
whenever
the
we talk our
valuations, build all
consumer,
their
we talk
products,
with our
produces
consumers,
big,
pioneer
popular,
of dual chip
large
flagship.
tech startups here. And if you look at the management,
When we launched the
I think
Iconio 7 Pro,
it'd be a
it was
sad
the first
realization
time
that
we
many of them are
introduced
not
the
really
dual chip
engineers. Although
in
these are all
new
tech
segment.
companies, they're all led by
While the
people who
recent
don't really care
Ico
about
12,
engineering.
which we launched, which
And
our
if you don't
last
care about
flagship,
engineering, why would you care
has
about
gone
encouraging your
one step
developers
further
or tech teams
to
to
provide
produce software to
an
give out to
enhanced,
others? What do you gain
self-developed
from that? Right?
supercomputer chip
So
Q1.
it's a sad
guess what?
cultural issue.
The Neo 9 Pro has
and
the same
again,
chipset.
Before
Supercomputer
this
chip
started, we had a
Q1.
brief chat about FOSS events in Bangalore, like how early 2000s saw a large number
It
of
is not just the
thriving
chip.
open source communities
The
all across
feature
India. There was
of
a
Ico 12, which we
OpenStreetMap
have,
movement was big.
was same
Wikipedia movement
available
was big.
in
You know,
Ico
lots
Neo
of
9 Pro
students
as well.
got participated and entered FOSS
let's
via
look at how.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
There were lots of FOSS
We were talking
events,
about the super
hacker events, but over the last
resolution
10 years,
previously.
now India has
And
become
the same super resolution
this,
we have in our Neo 9 Pro.
techno innovation
It can
business
take
hub. But
720p
FOSS-related
resolution
events
to
have
900p level
almost
in
vanished.
most of the
All the
games.
communities, they've vanished.
And
And
what
many
we
of
have
these events
changed this
today
time,
happen under
now
very
it is
corporate
supported
umbrellas. There are
more
tech
than
events,
20 games
not exactly
with the
open source
same
events or
features.
communities.
Yeah.
Today, when we have unlimited
Apart from
resources,
this,
when the
the
private
FPS
tech
is
industry
something
has
really
unlimited
important
resources
and
to
essential
conduct
for
and encourage
players
such
and
events
gamers
and
out
groups and
there.
organizations,
And we
don't really
understand
see anything.
the importance
So
of
I think
it.
it's all
That is the
very
reason
cultural.
the
from
Ico Neo
engineering
9 Pro
slash hacking
comes with
slash
the
tech.
native 90
We've gone
FPS
to
from the
like a
BGMI
techno
itself
business
and
realm
can
altogether,
be
which is
boosted
fair,
to
but
144
you need to have
FPS
both.
through game frame interpolation.
So maybe it'll come back around. We'll see.
Even techno business realm, I mean,
That's only possible
fairly common
through
to
our
hear, probably from my
amazing
perspective,
supercomputer
because,
chip
there are people
Q1.
hiring engineers from Scalar, so we get to
And
hear
you
from
won't
exactly
believe,
people who
in
are
our
hiring.
lab
Yeah.
search,
It's getting very
it has
difficult
been
to
found
hire
that
good
there is
engineers.
a concurrency
Term
of
I keep
having these
seeing
two,
thrown
game
around.
super resolution
But I
and
figure
game
that,
frame
if you
interpolation.
don't create the
We
atmosphere
have
where
achieved for a longer period.
whatever
of
is your definition of a good engineer thrives,
In
then
addition
you
to
will
the
have this
games,
complaint for
this
sure. Right?
MEMC
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
super frames
And
also
it's the ethical
supported
responsibility
on
of
three
tech
mainstream
companies who benefit
video
from all
platforms.
open source software and tech and
This gives
good
you
engineers
a
who
new
come
and
out
dynamic
from,
visual
these
experience
ecosystems
while watching
to
movies
contribute back
or
and
your favorite
help
TV
produce produce a thriving engineering culture everywhere.
No
Right,
gaming
right, right.
conversation is complete without
from a,
addressing the
and this is
important and most
maybe
talked
a,
subject.
Imagine a question
Heat
coming from
while
somebody fairly young, like
And
early 20s.
recently
getting into
there are a lot
I
many
keep getting
talks
this question
happening
myself.
in the industry
And
about
I try to
cooling
answer the
systems.
best I can, but would love to
So
get an
what is
answer
a
from
good
you for
cooling
those
system?
people as well.
Well, it
there are people who have
requires
maybe
a
just
large
heard
VC
about a
chamber
little bit. Okay, you know, there's this guy,
dissipate
very
the
good
heat
engineer. He
faster
started his
than
career
ever.
with open source, stuff like that. People hear such stories.
Our IQ
And people
9
ask
Pro,
like, okay,
IQ
how do
9
I
Pro
get into
equipped
open source?
with
And then obviously
the
that's
6K
a very vague
large VC
question
chamber
that ends.
cooling system.
But nevertheless, like you said, there's a big chasm of
The chamber
not
area
knowing
is
what you don't
as
know.
same as the
If somebody's
IQ
even
12.
interested up to that
Let me
point.
remind you,
Right, yeah.
the
I mean,
area
I
was
heard from some
6,000
people
mm
that
square
it's great to participate in
VC
some
chamber.
open source communities or contribute to some open source projects
this
or build
large
some of my
area
own projects. I heard from
and is
somewhere.
big
Could be
upgrade
good for
compared
me.
to the last
And
Neo
then
series
just
that
at
we
that
have,
point, there's a
which is
question
Neo
like, how do I
7
go about doing it?
It is a
What would
significant
be your
upgrade
answer to
compared to the
somebody
large
very young, just getting started? What
Now
should
let's
be
go
their
deeper into it.
motivations? And then, you know,
Well,
probably
when we
I would
talk
not ask
about
what
the
should be
internal
their motivations.
structure,
I think the motivation is
the major heat
fairly
source
there.
is
They want to get in. They just want to know
and
how
this
they
is
should go about
the
it.
area to focus.
This is a question
The
that
new
I see
dual layer
very frequently.
mesh power
I want to
accelerate
get into
the
open
gas
source.
liquid
How do I?
circulation of the VC
I
on the
think
CPU.
It's difficult to
And
be very honest.
increase
If you
and
want to
boost
start
the heat
contributing
transfer
to
by
large
a
existing
quarter.
projects, you need a certain level of
Even
expertise
the
and
screen,
understanding.
most
and
ignored
deep
part
understanding.
from the heat source.
Absolutely,
We have
absolutely.
also
And
covered
for
this
projects
time.
that are run
Compared
for
to
large
previous
projects,
generation, the temperature on the
maintained
thumb
by
contact area has been
skilled
reduced significantly
teams of people,
by up to
why would they
2
accept
degree
contributions which are not
Celsius.
meaningful?
Yeah.
So this whole question
Now,
of how do
the
I
finger
contribute
will
in an
not be
existing
burnt
project is a
with
slightly
getting heat up.
problematic one.
Quietly,
Especially for
quite literally,
beginners.
each of your fingers won't feel hot.
So to get started with open
With this,
source,
we
you
are
have to
setting a new
get started
benchmark
with hacking
for
and engineering.
cooling
You have
in
to become
new
a
series.
software developer first. You don't have to have
But that's
10 years
about
of
the feel
industry
in the
experience,
hand.
but you have to have
Apart
hands-on
from the
experience of
gaming
having
experience,
built
we
something.
have also
So before
taken
you
care
get into
the
open source,
network
get into
capabilities.
engineering. You have to write software.
You know,
write a date time
now the network
calculator, or,
antennas
play around with the
that we
data
have
server,
previously in
build
Neo 7 Pro,
something.
in
And
Neo
when
9
that
Pro has
happens, the
reached to
doorways
60.
automatically open up.
Now it
For
is covering
instance,
a 360-degree
that
area.
example with your toy project was great.
We
You
also
just
have
wanted
this
daytime
time
conversion,
a
but that you
dedicated,
picked a date library,
separate,
you went into,
independent gaming
into a
antenna.
rabbit hole of issues.
Because you
Maybe
hold your
one of those
phone
issues
in a
that you
landscape.
found in a date library, you'd know how to fix, and you
It
could send a
offers
fix there.
Yeah.
But
a
if you start out by
reduction
saying,
of data
I want to
or
contribute to
reduction
open
of
source, where do I
network
start?
latency of
Nothing will
more
happen.
than
You can never
10%.
start.
Exactly.
So you have to start by becoming a
have left
software
no
engineer.
stone
You
unturned
build your own projects,
to give you
hands-on
an
projects,
e-sport
and
level
in
gaming
that process,
experience.
you'll start using other
With the help
software
of our
libraries and whatnot.
most
And that will open up
advanced
pathways.
supercomputer chip
So
Q1 and
that
the
is, I think,
feature it carries
the
along.
only way to really do meaningful open source contributions. It has to come
We
to
believe
you
this is just
when
a
you're
beginning.
working on
And there are miles
those
to
things
go.
hands-on,
We are
building your
here
own projects
to
or
shape
building
the
stuff at
future
work or whatever.
for the
But if you
e-sport
just
gaming
wait,
in India.
they're saying, how do I get started? I need to get
Well,
started.
to
Nothing
have
will
a
happen.
good game
So you have to
experience,
get started
you
by
just not
writing
need
software.
only
Makes
processor
sense.
or gaming
That's
chip.
definitely great
You
place.
also have- you also need to have the great
probably
display
go deeper into
To enhance the
that
visual
particular
experience,
rabbit hole of
we have equipped
how to
the iQOO Neo 9
get started
Pro
to open
with
source
the
too. Then
same
there's
flagship
next set of
display
questions which
as
come from
iQOO
people
12.
about also how to go about their engineering career.
It has a brighter display of 3000 nits local peak brightness.
Discussed it back when we met.
Compared to
like,
Neo 7
about
Pro, the last
Sadly,
generation
sometimes
was
a lot
having
of
a
it is FOMO driven.
1300 nits.
Maybe the FOMO
It's
can
a
give you a
big
good
jump.
place to start, but if that's what keeps on driving you, might not end up with the correct
It also
direction,
got the
and all.
LTPO display.
I would like to
And not
also
just that, the
probably
display
dedicate
circuit
that with
is
one
now
background.
reaches to
And I
8T
remember a
circuit
long
of
time back I
LTPO.
saw an interview
Which
with
intelligently
Linus Torvalds.
have the
And he was saying
dynamic
that,
high refresh rate
and
from
there was a lot
1
of
hertz
outrage in India
to
about that interview
144
because he
hertz.
just said something which
Make
people
the
perceive to be
sliding
anti-India.
more
But
smooth
he
and
said that,
no pressure-
what
no
I see is,
pressure on
I don't
the
see
power
somebody from
consumption.
India creating something like
And
Linux
here is the
and then
amazing benefit
interviewer pressed on
with
like
wet
why?
hands.
And he
Saying
said that, when I
after
was
washing
starting
hands,
with,
or
Minix and,
maybe after coming from
hacking
the
around
bath,
with BSD and
or
I played
maybe
the Linux kernel.
playing games for a longer period of time.
I was
you
not
get
thinking
a
like
wet
how
on
I
the
will get a
fingers,
job
right?
next. I had just,
It
I was
does-
in Finland, I had
it does
completed my
really
university
get
degree and I
crazy
did not need a
if
job
touch
right now.
responses doesn't
I think
respond.
the Finnish government pays
So with that
some,
high precision
bursary amount for a
and
couple of years
responsive
till you
screen
figure out
from
a
the
job
Neo
and you
9
can-
Pro,
So it's
you
like
will be
I was
able
just
to
hacking
answer
around,
call,
there were some old,
capture the shots,
Solaris
and
boxes
play for
lying
longer
somewhere,
period of time
plugging some
without
hard disks
worrying
and
of
seeing if
your
I can
battery
write a better driver for that. And all of this stuff I was doing.
But all these
and out of
benefits
that
like
Linux
high
was born.
refresh
I
rate,
did not set out to build
brightness,
something like
amazing
Linux
features
out there.
like
And then he
the
talked
high
about how like I
LTPO
was not
display
finding a good
will
version
go
that
in
was-
vain
so I
if you
wrote
don't
Git about
have
that.
the eye
Like,
protection.
like I have come
don't
to
need
India
to
a bunch
worry.
of times, and I've met
We have got you covered.
Indian
We have
engineers, and
all
somebody right
round
out of college is
brightness
thinking so
adjustment
hard about
and smart
jobs.
eye care
And
protections.
that's a background that we should also keep in mind, I believe, like, because we are not a very rich country.
Moreover,
we are a poor
the new
country, and
9
a lot
Pro
of people
series
have a
has
lot of
also passed
responsibilities for
SGS
education loans
dual
and getting out of
certification.
it.
The low blue light.
Despite given
and the
that
low
background,
flicker.
how do you say people should go about
This display on the new
early
9
phases
Pro
of their
is
careers?
top-notch.
What kind of things
The
they
flagship
should
level,
learn?
2160
and
hertz
what,
PWM dimming.
can be good
The
motivations to
flagship
sort
level
of keep learning
of
more things.
80 circuit LTPO design.
It's very
and the eye
difficult
care
to
protection.
talk about motivation. I mean, it
At
has
the
to
same
come
time,
from
the super
within.
sensitive touch
When it comes,
will
why
boost
it
your
comes,
finishes
when the
in
spark
no time.
happens to be a hacker or do
So we have
things for
covered
the
the
joy of it,
performance,
it's very
we have
difficult.
covered the display,
And like you
gaming,
rightly said,
battery.
we can't compare our
And
economic
in every
conditions, especially over the last few
aspect,
decades,
Icon Neo 9
with,
Pro is a real
say, our Western counterparts. There, when you
camera
have
is
great
not
social
any
security,
different.
it's possible to
We are not
think
just
like a hacker.
providing
I'm not going to think
a
about a career.
flagship
I'm
level
not going to
imaging,
think about a
but
job. I'll
also
just hack
giving
around
you
because
a
you have great social
comfortable
security.
hand feel.
But again, like you rightly said,
This device,
we don't really have that sort of
deserving
social security.
its flagship
that people
level
have
name.
Big
It features
economic
Sony sensor
obligations
and Vivo's
and to
imaging algorithm.
meet those obligations, you have to find a job. Right after college, you're mostly
This device
forced to find a
has
job.
the Sony IMX
So
920 sensor.
it becomes really difficult.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
And this
because of
920
that,
sensor
the ecosystem, the
is
environment
photosensitive.
here isn't really
Combined with the
ripe
Vivo's
for
camera binding
hacking.
spectrum,
And
it enables the
once
high
you-
color accuracy
and we've talked
helps in
about
providing the
culture or the lack of
100%
or lack
color
thereof
reproduction.
engineering culture in our industry.
At the
Even
same time, the
the
20%
new
improvement
age
in
tech
signal to
industry,
noise
which is
ratio
flush
and
with cash,
15%
even that
improvement
lacks it.
in
Now, when you,
improved color
when a
accuracy.
young student
So what you
who
see,
has
what you get.
economic obligations to meet enters the
ICO
industry,
has been leading in the
and
industry
if it's a
in
large,
night
big
photography.
IT industry,
And our
it's
raw
a-
HDR algorithm
they get
reproduces
churned
the true
there.
color
There's no
and
engineering,
brightness
it's just
in highlight
services.
condition.
It's
For example,
drone work, unfortunately.
if you see this picture,
Or if, let's say,
the
they
concert
entered
hall
this new
live
tech industry,
and
which
making
has
it
all the
look like a
resources,
glowing
well-paid
giant
jobs
building
and
block.
all of that, but there's no engineering
Truly
culture.
breathtaking.
Chaotic there, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
And if
without that
even if you
culture, right,
zoom it,
what sparks
the
this
clarity will
whole idea
not
of
fade away.
motivation? There has to be something, right? It has to be people around
The
you. It
flagship
has to be the
algorithm is not
environment
only
you are in.
limited
It could be
limited to the night
could be a community,
photography,
it could be a conversation
whereas
that you have
it also
about hacking
supports
with someone.
the
It could be
4K
anything that
night
sparks.
video.
And that spark has to
Have a look.
sustain. Now, the probability of that spark occurring is low because, because of whatever reasons, we don't really have that engineering / hacker culture. Not in the old industry. Ironically, not in the old industry. And not really in our educational platform. Again, for producing graduates who get into this, this churn.
Yeah.
I mean, there are
just look at the
strong
clarity. It was shot in low light,
socio-political,
light
cultural
scenario.
reasons for that, economic reasons for that. We can't really
flagship
blame
level
them, but
sensor
that's the
also
reality.
capture beautiful
So when you
portraits,
come
no
out,
matter
when you
in
go
day
into any of
and
these
night.
parts, when you take any of
That
these
too,
parts, the
even in 2x.
probability of you getting started, you getting that
ICO's
motivation,
watermarks
getting
allow
that
you to
spark
have
to
your
do
own
something,
signature
try
of
something,
photos.
have fun.
Ultra
is
HD
low.
documents
It
can
happens,
clearly
but it is
capture
really
the
low.
important documents.
So
and there are more
it's a
videos,
problem. It's something I think about
that
all the
we
time.
have here
When
to
people
explore.
especially say our colleges don't
That's all for
produce,
the flagship
fast
level
hackers. Why is
performance
that?
in Neo
So
9
many,
Pro in
millions of
imaging.
people who finish
Neo
engineering
9
degrees,
Pro
but
sports
how many open
IMX,
source projects
Sony
come out of
IMX
India, right?
920 sensor.
These are all really
with
complex
multiple
reasons, and
innovation algorithm
it's a bit of a
challenging the
lose-lose
best
where
moments and best
in all these
performance in its
areas
own
and
class.
parts. So it's just really hard.
And now
how do you get motivation? I
we
don't
talk
really
about
have an
this
answer.
software.
I think it has to. That spark has to
Icon
come
Neo
from
9 Pro
somewhere.
comes with
So the people who have the
Frontier Choice
ability
14
to, let's say,